Chapter 1933. When Zhao's room had been surrounded by more than a dozen thugs. These people didn't look much different from the previous two. For Wen Xiao it didn't matter. He was just dealing with a group of thugs raised in a sauna center. It didn't require any skill. However, the leader of this group of thugs was obviously not a good person. He could tell at a glance that Wen Xiao was a strong guy. Because this guy looked too relaxed, and there wasn't even a trace of sweat on his forehead. This meant that he had taken down his two subordinates as easily as blowing off dust. This clearly showed that there was a huge gap in strength between them to be able to do so. Therefore, he made a prompt decision. Among his men, of course, including himself, no one could be a match for this guy in front of him. Facing such an opponent, he would never be stupid enough to fight an egg against a stone. He could become the boss of these people not only by relying on his fists, but also his brain. In today's society, no matter what industry you were in, you couldn't achieve anything without using your brain. Even if you were a boss in a nightclub, you still needed to rely on your IQ. IQ was the basic guarantee that a person could make the right decision at a critical moment. Just when the group of thugs was eager to try and beat up Wen Xiao in the room, the leader took out a pistol from behind his waist. Although it was just an ordinary 54 pistol, it was enough to make the brothers present a little surprised. They hadn't even started, and the boss took out a gun? Was it so serious? They were just dealing with a customer who beat up a technician. They just needed to beat him up until he paid. Aren't you very arrogant? Continue to be arrogant in front of me. The leader of the thugs sneered. He pointed the pistol at Wen Zhao's face and strode forward. People who had a pistol pointed at their heads knew that the feeling of being in control of their life and death was very unpleasant. This wasn't a sword, a stick, an axe, a hook, or a fork. Basically, it would only cause a little injury. The bullet was something that was shot out while spinning. It was something that exploded in the target's body. No one could guarantee that they would be killed with one shot. Therefore, people who were pointed at by a pistol would be afraid. This was also the reason why the leader of this group of thugs dared to walk into the room so arrogantly. He dared to be so unscrupulous because he had a pistol in his hand that could decide the life and death of his opponent. Unfortunately, the person he was facing was Wen Xiao. Wen Xiao couldn't remember how many times he had brushed past bullets, so he couldn't think of any reason to be afraid of a fake Type 54. As a mercenary king from the Special Forces, he was not an ordinary person. A big brother, a pistol? This thing can't be pointed at casually. Wen Xiao smiled. If it misfires, then it will be a big problem. There's a heavy sentence for murder. Upon hearing Wen Zhao's words, the boss of the thugs became even more arrogant. Now you know how to be afraid. What were you doing just now? Isn't that pretty awesome? Come. Hit me again. I'll stretch my face out. Do you dare to hit me? His arrogance made people feel that he was too despicable. If Wen Xiao had not turned over a new leaf, he would have killed every single one of them in Southeast Asia, and not a single one of them would be left. If you want to act tough, you need to have the ability to do so. With just this little ability, you want to imitate those movies and pretend to be a big brother? As long as Big Brother wants me to hit you, I dare to hit you. Wen Xiao smiled. Damn. You're quite stubborn. Try hitting me. The boss of the thugs became anxious and roared angrily. In the blink of an eye, Wen Xiao swung his arm and gave him a tight slap across his face. The sound of the slap lit up all the voice-activated lights in the corridor upstairs and downstairs. After receiving this slap, the boss of the thugs felt that his head was filled with silver stars. This bastard was really brave. He didn't hesitate at all when he said he would hit him. He was stunned from the slap. If he didn't teach this guy a lesson today, he wouldn't be able to stay in this place in the future. He was holding a gun and was slapped by someone. Who would listen to him? I'll shoot you today. The boss of the thugs scolded and was about to hit him. At this time, he felt that his hands were empty. That's right, both of his hands were empty. Where was the gun? A second ago, it was still in his hands. How did it disappear in a second? Soon, the boss of the thugs saw a black hole in front of him. He raised his head and saw that the other party was aiming a gun at him. At such a close distance, he could see the muzzle of the gun when he raised his head. At such a distance, Even a fool with his eyes closed could be shot in the head. The boss of the thugs withered. Nothing was more important than life. Everyone knew that. Compared to life, Face was insignificant. It was fine if he didn't want Face. Big brother, let's not joke around. This gun is loaded. Don't do anything stupid. The boss of the thugs changed his arrogance and said to Wen Xiao gently, "We're all brothers. If there's anything, let's sit down and talk about it slowly. We can definitely think of a solution." Big brother, don't you think what I said makes sense? Wen Xiao nodded. It makes sense. The other party's expression turned slightly better. But Wen Xiao's tone changed. Bullshit. Why don't you take a look at yourself? Sit down and talk about it slowly. When you pointed this thing at me just now, why didn't you say to sit down and talk with me? Now you want to change your mind? No. I didn't mean that just now. I was just joking with Big Brother. The boss of the thugs was suffering in his heart. This time, he really lost all his face in front of his brothers. Losing Face didn't affect the family's food. But if he lost his life, there was really no chance to get it back. Seeing that their boss was scared, many of the thugs were a little unhappy. But after all, the initiative was in their hands. They really didn't dare to look for trouble. There was a good saying, the gun shoots the bird that sticks out. Now all the conflicts were concentrated on their boss. No one was willing to be the bird that sticks out. That's a great joke of yours. It even made me want to make a joke. When Xiao directly pointed the gun at the boss's mouth. Say, if I shoot a bullet from this direction, can the bullet accurately go through your anus? When the boss heard this, he couldn't help but feel his chrysanthemum tighten. This guy is really too ruthless. Even his words are so vivid. If it's penetrated, won't the person die? The boss forced a smile. Brother, it's better not to joke like this. It's too dangerous. Let's put this thing down. We can talk about it slowly. You can use it to joke with me, but I can't use it to joke with you. Wen Xiao said. Are you discriminating against me? As he said this, Wen Xiao even used the gun to fiercely point at this guy's head. The boss suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. He was really scared. It wasn't like he hadn't encountered a gun that went off accidentally, especially this type of fake 54. As long as the bullet was loaded and the safety was opened, it could go off directly during the process of hitting. Now there was a gun pointed at his head. How could he not be afraid? If he didn't go to the toilet just now, he would really be scared to the point of peeing. I'm really joking with Big Brother. If I'm lying, I'll be struck by lightning 5 times. The person who made this oath was definitely an atheist. Otherwise he wouldn't dare to say this. It was too vicious. When Xiao shook his head helplessly, the other person had already said it so decisively. When Xiao really didn't want to make things difficult for him. Okay. I believe you. I'll return the gun to you. Don't make this kind of joke in the future. After saying that, When Xiao really gave the gun to the boss of the thugs. This behavior was too strange. Not only did the boss not expect it, but no one else thought that the other party would do this kind of behavior. At this time, the boss immediately became spirited. He absolutely couldn't admit defeat. In the face of such a dangerous opponent, it was best to shoot him in the leg first to ensure his safety. After the boss took the gun, he didn't even hesitate for a second. He directly aimed at Wen Zhao's knee and pulled the trigger. However, everything did not happen according to the setting. The pistol was jammed with a click. The hatchet man panicked at that time and tried to pull the trigger again. However, the pistol was indeed jammed and could not fire at all. Who was Wen Xiao? How many years had he been playing with guns? Not to mention a fake 54, even if it was a US military assault rifle in his hands for a few seconds, he had a way to turn the gun into a dud gun that could never fire. It seems that I'm really lucky. Wen Xiao smiled. Of course, he wouldn't tell the other party what he did to the gun. This gun jammed at the right time. Otherwise, wouldn't my leg be crippled? Chapter 1934. The thug boss wasn't as cowardly as he appeared to be now. Otherwise, he wouldn't have dared to shoot after taking back the gun. If he dared to pull the trigger, he wasn't a coward. To put it bluntly, it was because of this gun. One moment he had a gun, the next moment he didn't have a gun, and the next moment his gun jammed. This back and forth made his sense of superiority come and go. That was why he was arrogant when he had a gun, but he was afraid when he didn't have one. When the gun jammed, his brain was also jammed. "Boss, are you okay?" The brothers behind him could see that their boss was in a cold sweat, and his face was a little pale. The battle hadn't even started yet, and he was already so cowardly? This wasn't their boss's usual style. He was usually very arrogant. He wasn't really scared. He was just stunned. His whole body was stunned. This imitation 54 was given to him by the boss. He had always cherished it. He also learned how to disassemble it and maintain every part of the gun, because he knew that only by playing with this gun well could he have a chance to get a better reward from the boss again. He saw that the boss had other weapons. What was an imitation 54? The boss had Beretta, Colt, all kinds of world-famous pistols, and all kinds of weapons from the US military. If he couldn't even cherish this imitation 54, how could he have the face to ask the boss for other treasures? Therefore, he had always treated this gun as a treasure. It was absolutely impossible for it to jam. Why is this? Why did he drop the ball at the crucial moment? Do you know why your gun doesn't work? Wen Xiao could see the surprise in the thug boss's heart. When he asked this, the guy immediately raised his head. His eyes were full of doubts. Obviously, this kind of doubt meant that he really wanted to know what Wen Xiao had done to his baby. This wasn't just an imitation 54 broken pistol. He could also get this thing on the black market. This was given by the boss. It represented a kind of trust from the boss. Of course, he would be angry if it was broken. "Don't look at me like that. I didn't do anything." Wen Xiao smiled provocatively. "It's because the bullets in this gun are the same as you. They're all cowards. They don't even dare to come out when they see me. Even if they do come out, they know that they can't kill me and will be tortured by me instead. Do you understand?" After being scolded as a coward in front of everyone, the thug boss couldn't care less anymore. His IQ, which was usually known for being quick-witted, had completely gone out of control. There was only one word in his mind: fight. "Brothers, let's go. Today we can't let this person go out alive," the thug boss ordered, and a group of people immediately swarmed forward. However, because the boss of the thugs was blocking the door, everyone's reaction speed was not that fast. Wen Xiao was also not careless. After the other party arrogantly said those words, he made his move. Suddenly, he bounced up and hit the boss's face with his knee. This kind of Muay Thai move was more than enough to deal with this kind of hooligan thug. With this knee strike, the hired thug boss's face instantly changed beyond recognition. His face was really dyed. His nose, cheekbone, and other bones were probably all broken. If it was a normal day, Wen Xiao would really let it go. However, today he was bound to make a big deal out of it. Naturally, he wouldn't stop. Following that, he punched the boss's stomach. The pain of his ribs breaking and piercing into his flesh was probably only known by that guy himself. The severe pain on his face and stomach made the usually valiant hired thug boss completely faint. His body was like a door frame, directly blocking the door of the room. If anyone wanted to come in and die, they would have to step over this guy's body. The thugs who were eager to give it a try were now scared. It was just 2 moves, just 2 simple moves, and the boss was dead? Even if their boss could still make some moaning sounds, they wouldn't be as frightened as they were now. It was really frightening. 3 seconds ago, a living person had declared that he would kill the other party. Now he was lying in front of them without making any sound. This kind of exaggeration was completely beyond their imagination. Suyin had been listening in the room next door. The girl who was dancing wildly and sweating all over was also listening. Suddenly, it was unusually quiet outside. Phew. The girl breathed a sigh of relief. "Brother, don't worry. I said it will definitely be solved, so it will definitely be solved. Look, there's no movement. I reckon that the troublemaker has already been dealt with by our people. Don't let their matters affect you. Come on, let's start. I've disturbed you just now. My dance time won't be counted as your time." Suyin was stunned. She even gave him half an hour of free golden snake wild dance? Didn't they say that actors were heartless and bitches were heartless? What kind of situation was today? The outside was so quiet. Suyin didn't believe that those people had dealt with Wen Xiao. If they had dealt with Wen Xiao, these thugs would have already screamed and expressed their excitement. This kind of silence was more like they were scared. They were so scared that they didn't know what to do next. Suyin was curious as to what Wen Xiao had done to make this place so quiet. Could it be that he had really killed someone? Brother, let's start? The girl said as she stuck to Suyun's body. Her hands touched down through Suyun's pants. Suyun's mind was focused on the movement outside. He wasn't prepared at all. After being attacked by this girl, he had goosebumps all over his body. Brother, are you scared? Why don't you have any reaction at all? The girl was a little surprised. Suyun signaled the girl not to touch him first. I say, sister, think about it. Someone could die outside at any time. Can I still be so calm and have sex with you in this room? Of course not. I'm really not in the mood now. I'll be frank. I'm definitely scared. The girl looked at Suyin embarrassedly. She really likes such an elegant guest. Brother, it's really okay. Our people have dealt with it. They won't disturb any guests. Also, when you go down later to explain the situation, we will definitely give you a discount to express our apologies. It doesn't matter if you give me a discount or not. I don't care about this little money. I'm just afraid that someone will barge in when I'm having sex with you. What should I do if that happens? Suyin said seriously. This psychological trauma is very difficult to cure. The girl didn't know whether to laugh or cry as she looked at Suyin. AI, what should she say to this guest? Could it be that she could earn money so easily today? Was it enough to just dance and not do anything else? It would be better if it was like this every day. The people outside were still staring at each other. No one dared to step forward. Wen Xiao was even more arrogant. He leaned against the door and said, What's the matter? Brothers, are you all prepared to stare at me? Unfortunately, brother isn't interested. Where's your boss? It affected my leisure and entertainment. Other than the free bill, do you still have to compensate me? This guy was really crazy. The dozen of thugs had never seen such an arrogant person. What are you all doing? Did the boss hire you to act dumb? Mother Hen looked at this scene from afar and was furious. There are so many of you and you can't even beat him. Then are you all idling here? If you don't take down this person today, all of you can scram. Scram. Faced with the pressure of being fired, the dozen of them seemed to have suddenly returned to life. They roared and rushed toward Suyin. That's right, they had to protect their jobs. This was their rice bowl, and it was a rice bowl that could never be picked up again once it was smashed. No other nightclub rice bowl was more delicious and simple than Heavenly Palace one. Therefore, they had to settle this matter today. And whoever could take down this person in the end might even replace their unconscious boss as the big brother. The pressure of being fired and the motivation of being promoted could really make a person look like a new person with explosive power. The noise outside became noisy again. Suyin snorted softly. Wen Xiao, you really know how to play. You gave them enough time to consider whether to report this matter to the person in charge. Not bad, not bad. The girl serving Suyin also became nervous when she heard the noise outside. This was really something she didn't expect. Why did it start again? This was really a little exaggerated. What kind of person could make their people unable to deal with him? AI, but let's not talk about others. Wasn't she also unable to deal with this customer in front of her? Chapter 1935. It only took Wen Xiao more than 2 minutes to knock down all of them. Chicken Mommy, who was standing more than 10 meters away, was completely dumbfounded. What kind of person was this? Were his fists that strong? She didn't give them any chance to fight back at all. She didn't even see what was going on, and it was already over. Wasn't it a little too fast? Fortunately, the gentle-looking man in glasses was a shrewd person. When he realized that something was wrong, he ran away. As he went downstairs, he made a phone call. He had to inform the boss about this matter because this customer was too unusual. He suspected that he was here to seek revenge. After the phone call, the gentle man in glasses ordered people to quickly seal all the exits. He must not let this person escape. Now Wen Xiao was definitely the #1 terrorist in the entire Heavenly Palace #1 sauna center. He must be completely killed and annihilated. The person in charge of Heavenly Palace #1 would never allow a person who made trouble in Heavenly Palace to leave standing. The staff in Heavenly Palace #1 had obviously been strictly trained. After the gentleman in glasses gave the order, they all went to work. There was only one person who didn't react, and that was the assistant manager under the bespectacled man. This guy really didn't have any ability. Usually, other than sleeping with prostitutes, he really didn't do anything else. However, he knew how to flatter, so he had never been fired by the bosses. If nothing happened on a normal day, the gentleman in glasses really wouldn't use him for anything. But today was different. As the deputy manager, he had to come out and do something he should do. The short-haired young man who was pulled out of the ladies' lounge by the man in glasses was the deputy manager of their Heavenly Palace #1 sauna center. This short-haired young man's physical fitness should be particularly good. He mingled in this kind of place with women all day long, but he didn't look like a good-for-nothing who was hollowed out by wine and women. He looked quite strong. "Brother, there are only so many things going back and forth in this place every day. You can do it yourself. Why do you need me?" The short-haired young man was very surprised. To be honest, he was arranged in this place purely because of his personal interest. Otherwise, he would have left long ago because he felt that it was a waste of talent. He really didn't need him. The gentleman in glasses was already out of breath at this moment. Something happened. There is a guy upstairs who is very good at fighting. He released all of Zhu Chang's people. Hearing this, the short-haired young man was instantly energized. "I've already called the big boss. They told us to control the scene. No matter how chaotic it is, we can't let anyone leave." The man with glasses said, "That's why I asked you to come out and help. Once that guy disturbs the guests, we can't let the guests leave no matter what. We have to appease the guests. In a while, the big boss will naturally bring people to give all the guests an explanation. He will also let everyone see with their own eyes the consequences of causing trouble in our Heavenly Palace one." The short-haired youth frowned. "Which floor is he on?" "It's on the 3rd floor. The bespectacled man nodded. Suddenly he paused and asked in confusion, "What do you want to do?" "Of course I want to meet him." The short-haired youth said, "Brother, the bosses didn't arrange for me to work here for free. I know what I should do when it's time for me to take action." The bespectacled man seemed to be quite concerned about the short-haired youth. "Are you crazy? Zhao Honglong, think carefully. That guy single-handedly took care of Zhu Chang and a dozen of his brothers. Zhu Chang still has a gun. Brother, you don't have to worry." Zhao Honglong said confidently, "Zhu Chang and the others are nothing. Even if you give him a light machine gun and 50 of his brothers, I can still cripple him, let alone a broken 54. The bespectacled man hurried forward to pull him back. "This is not the time to show off. Zhao Honglong, think carefully. I know you always feel that the big boss is using you for a petty purpose, but this is not the time to be angry, nor is it the time to show off." The reason why Zhao Honglong would call him brother was because the bespectacled man had never treated him as an outsider. He really treated him as his brother. No matter how lazy he was, the bespectacled man had never said a single bad word about him, nor had he complained about him in front of the big boss. All this time, Zhao Honglong had been very grateful for this. "Brother, I won't hide it from you," Zhao Honglong said lightly. "The guy upstairs can take care of Zhu Chang and the others so easily. Obviously, he's not an ordinary person. He must be an expert." Although the bespectacled man had a conclusion in his heart, he couldn't help but be a little surprised. "Why do you think I was arranged here by the big boss?" Zhao Honglong suddenly asked, and then fell into a particularly uncomfortable state. "It's because I'm too conceited and made some small mistakes, so the big boss wants to punish me and put me here to help you. Brother, if you weren't good to me, I wouldn't be able to stay here. I'm also a true dragon. I've been through life and death with the big boss. I'm different from Zhu Chang and the others." The bespectacled man looked at Zhao Honglong in surprise and wondered, "You and the big boss? I used to be the big boss's man." Zhao Honglong said bluntly. He had been hiding this matter, and no one had told him. The bespectacled man's face was full of disbelief. In fact, he was acting. Since the first day Zhao Honglong came here, he realized that this guy was different from others, so he had always treated him differently. Even if he didn't do anything and made him very disgusted, Zhao Honglong would never notice it. For a long time, the bespectacled man made Zhao Honglong feel that he treated him very well because he had always suspected that Zhao Honglong was the big boss's man. Today Zhao Honglong admitted it himself. The bespectacled man suddenly had a feeling that his investment had paid off. To be honest, this feeling was really good, but he still had to pretend to be suddenly enlightened. You've been hiding it from me? Brother, I really didn't mean it. I just didn't have the face to say it. After all, I was punished to this place by the big boss. Zhao Honglong said. You see, every time the big boss comes, don't I serve him like a grandson? I really don't want to fight for power with you. I just want to leave here and go to the platform that can let me fight. The bespectacled man nodded seriously. It's really a waste of your talent here. I knew it. When I first saw you, I knew that a golden fish is not a fish in a pool. Sooner or later, you will have a meteoric rise. Zhao Honglong was encouraged by the bespectacled man, and the blood in his heart surged. Brother, you can rest assured. I will settle today's matter for you. Of course, this is also an opportunity for me to make a contribution. I think the big boss's punishment should be enough. I really don't want to fool around with women every day. It's a waste of my life. The bespectacled man nodded vigorously. This guy could return to the big boss's side. For him, it was the best return after the investment. He was equivalent to having a brother by the big boss's side. Anything in the future would be good for him. Zhao Honglong didn't go to the elevator. He rushed directly to the stairs. He wanted to see who was on the third floor and how capable they were. Humph, Zhu Chang and the group of trash. Trash will always be trash. When Xiao had already begun to harass the customers. He walked in the corridor and slammed the door when he saw it. He roared into the room. Get the F***ck out. I'm going to burn this place. If you don't want to die, get out of here. He didn't know how many people would be completely dispirited after his ruckus. If there were really repercussions, they might not be able to recover in the future. When Xiao finally made it to the room where Su Yun was, Ting Ting, who was serving Su Yun, was so scared that she almost shrank under the bed. This was because Su Yun was going to open the door. Clang, clang, clang. When Xiao slammed the door. Did you hear that? Get out of here. Su Yun opened the door directly. If you want to cause trouble, go ahead and cause trouble with them. Everyone is here to have fun. Why bother us like this? Isn't that right? When Xiao saw Su Yun, he was dumbfounded. Brother, you are really my biological brother. You have even followed me here to escort me. If I don't do anything, I will really be letting down Su Yun, who has worked so hard to escort me. Fine. You have guts. You have guts. Play slowly. Don't burn your underwear later. Wen Xiao held back his laughter and said fiercely. The room door was closed by Wen Xiao. Wait for your death. The girl went forward and grabbed Su Yun's arm. Brother, let's go. We'll take the secret passage and leave quickly. If this guy really wants to set the place on fire, we'll be in trouble. He might be a psychopath. Secret passage? Su Yun knew that there was something else going on here. Chapter 1936. The girl pulled Su Yun to the bedside and turned a wall lamp on the wall. Then, a click came from behind the TV cabinet. Su Yun was really impressed. This was really full of traps. No wonder he always felt that this wall lamp was weird. 15 years ago, the decoration style liked to install a wall lamp. But now, what kind of society was it now? Such a rustic style was actually in this high-end sauna center. No wonder, there was really a problem. The girl gently pushed the TV cabinet, and a secret passage directly appeared. Su Yun didn't think much and followed the girl in. He didn't know what the girl pulled inside, and the secret passage closed. Soon, Su Yun heard other sounds in the secret passage. It was estimated that many guests were brought here. No wonder even if the police raided, they couldn't find any evidence. No one would have thought of such a sophisticated layout. The bosses of the Jutsai group were really awesome. This design was really unparalleled. Your place is really safe. Su Yin expressed the same emotion as many guests who saw the secret passage for the first time. Brother, now you know how safe our place is. If you want to play in the future, you can come here to play. Our place is absolutely safe. You will never be caught by the police. The girl said confidently. You can rest assured. Go forward and you will reach the safe zone. This passage is directly connected to the outside. Su Yin was stunned. We can go out directly from here? No, of course we can't go out yet. We are just out of danger for a while. The girl said. After all, many guest service may not be over yet. If it ends like this, will there be a fee or not? Su Yin nodded. That is to say, we can leave after paying? Brother, are you not satisfied with my service? The girl looked back at Su Yin nervously as she walked. In fact, there was no service at all. Su Yin didn't do anything. There was really no satisfaction or dissatisfaction. No. I am satisfied. I am very satisfied. It's just that this kind of thing happened. I really don't have the mood. I am not so generous. Once I am not in the mood, I really don't have that thought. Then are you going to pay and leave? The girl was very surprised. Wasn't this customer too generous? Well, I won't continue this time. Su Yin acted very well. I'll think about it in a few days. I'll definitely come. When I come, I'll pick you directly. Number 18, right? Let's just agree on this. Brother, you're such a good person. The girl said. Seeing that Su Yin was such a good person, her heart softened. But it's too much of a loss for you to pay like this. How about, we try again later when we go back? I'll brag for you. Believe me, I'm very good. I'll definitely let you find the feeling. Let's forget about it. Really, let's forget about it. Su Yin said with cold sweat on his forehead. Emotions are different from physiology. It's not that easy to adjust. Just like that, they walked out of the secret passage as they talked. The secret passage led them directly to a large room. Su Yin saw many girls in professional clothes. Then, there were many customers carrying clothes. These customers were of different heights. Some were bald, some had flat shoulders, and there were all kinds of people. There were people in their 20s to people in their 50s and 60s. Huaxia really couldn't burn this thing out. It would grow again when the spring breeze blew. In Su Yin's opinion, the investigation was not strict enough. Not ruthless enough. This gave these bosses an opportunity to take advantage of, and also gave people the courage to play. By changing the punishment and directly killing the boss who organized this kind of behavior, it would definitely reduce a large number of people who did this kind of thing. Catch the ladies in this line of work, and directly lock them up for 20 years. When they came out, they would be old and yellow. Let's see who would dare to sell them. Catch the customers, hee. Drag them out and they would be shot to pieces. If there was such strength, it would definitely be clean. It was just a little money. People who dared to come out and play like this must have the money. If they were punished, then so be it. They definitely wouldn't care. Su Yin looked at the nearly 50 customers in front of him. He didn't know what they were thinking. Weren't they afraid of getting sick? It was such a dangerous thing. Were they joking with their lives? What if the whole AIZ came out? Then wouldn't he really have the heart to commit suicide? Zhao Honglong had reached the 3rd floor at this moment. The corridor was a mess. Chicken Mommy, who had been paralyzed with fear, looked at Zhao Honglong with a blank face. She didn't know why this deputy manager, who always didn't care about anything, suddenly appeared at this time. Zhu Chang and his group of brothers were lying on the ground in disorder. They had all lost the ability to fight. Brother, your skills are not bad. Zhao Honglong sneered. As a master, he naturally felt Wen Zhao's strong aura. When Wen Xiao saw Zhao Honglong, he was also stunned. The other party's aura was also very strong. It was not inferior to his at all. Moreover, he was also very young. It seemed that this Jutsai group was really not to be trifled with. How could they arrange such a master in a small sauna center? Phew. I've really bitten a hard bone this time. Of course, Wen Xiao didn't know that Zhao Honglong in front of him had always been the favorite of the big boss of the Jutsai group. This person was very strong and had always been loyal. He was very appreciated by the big boss. However, he had a particularly big shortcoming, which was that he liked women. If he didn't do something with women every day, he would feel uncomfortable all over. It was as uncomfortable as if 10,000 ants were biting his body. Once, the big boss temporarily went to deal with an extremely urgent matter and asked him to wait for a very important partner in the office. This important partner was also a person like Wen Xiao. Therefore, the big boss specially arranged for a woman to let Zhao Honglong receive the partner and explain the situation. After that, the partner and the woman were sent to find a place to have fun. No one would have thought that Zhao Honglong couldn't help himself and had fun with the woman in the office. His partner had arrived half an hour earlier and had seen the scene unfold before his eyes. Of course, the partner couldn't take a woman who had just been used to have fun. He waited in the big boss office for 2 hours. When the big boss found out about this, he was angry at the time and told Zhao Honglong, "Since you like women so much, then go to Heavenly Palace number 1. There are many women there. You never have to come out there. Just die in Heavenly Palace number 1. With this order, Zhao Honglong spent more than half a year in Heavenly Palace number 1. If he was an ordinary person, he might be too happy. After all, it was safe and comfortable to do things here. There were all kinds of women every day. After Zhao Honglong came to Heavenly Palace number 1, he had never played with the same woman. However, Zhao Honglong was not an ordinary person. Therefore, staying in this place for a long time was definitely a kind of punishment and torture. This kind of punishment and torture was definitely the most difficult for Zhao Honglong to endure. He really would rather go through fire and water every day than be drunk in this kind of place. Oh, these wastes are all dead. Finally, there is a decent person here. Wen Xiao sneered. Alright, since this brother wants to play, then let's have some fun. However, I'm afraid we can't play in this place, right? Zhao Honglong sneered confidently. It's really a bit difficult. However, I'm afraid you don't have a chance to go out now, right? If you want to go out and play, let me lie here first. Wen Xiao nodded. That's a good idea. Then I'll do as you say. As soon as Wen Zhao's voice fell, the two people attacked at the same time. The two people's strong explosive power erupted in an instant. It could be seen that both of them knew the principle of striking first to gain the upper hand, so no one was willing to be left behind. It was not difficult to see that both of them had scruples about each other. It was because of this concern that they would use 100% of their combat power from the beginning, and not hold back at all. Being able to finish off the opponent in the shortest time was the common idea of these two people at this moment. They were very clear that the faster they finished off the opponent, the safer they would be. On the other hand, the possibility of them falling would be higher. Wen Zhao's 3 attacks were all fatal. Zhao Honglong had obviously not been active for half a year. Suddenly, he encountered such a strong master, which really caught him off guard. In half a year he was drunk on women. Although his body was a little weak, he still maintained his explosive power. As for the reason, everyone knew. Facing the opponent who was full of murderous intent, Zhao Honglong also used his killer move to counterattack. The two of them had their own strengths in this round of fighting, and neither of them had the upper hand. However, Chicken Mommy was dumbfounded. She really did not expect Zhao Honglong to be so powerful. She really didn't expect these two people to be able to perform special effects in front of her. Are these two guys even human? Is this all a dream? Chicken Mommy pinched her thigh hard. It hurts. It hurts. Chapter 1937. Bro, you were sent by the higher-ups to investigate us, right? Zhao Honglong slowly began to be vigilant. He didn't dare to be arrogant. His initial confidence began to become restrained. He was very clear that any little carelessness could turn into a tragedy. In the Heavenly Palace number 1 sauna center, there was absolutely no second person who could stop the guy in front of him except for him. Wen Xiao was also cautious. Although he realized that Zhao Honglong's strength was extraordinary from the beginning, he still regarded Zhao Honglong as the bathing center's internal security. After a few moves, he really didn't believe that the opponent in front of him was just a bathing center's internal security. The opponent's identity in the Jutsai group was definitely not ordinary. This obviously achieved one of Wen Zhao's goals, but at the same time, It also restricted Wen Xiao. If the opponent really had an extraordinary identity in the Jutsai group, he absolutely couldn't really cause fatal damage to the opponent. That was basically equivalent to cutting off his own opportunity to be undercover in the Jutsai group. The opponent's every move was definitely a kill. He didn't mean to leave him a way out. Wen Zhao's situation was really not very optimistic. Wen Xiao felt that he needed someone to give him some help and support to help him think of a solution. If there was no countermeasure, he would be at a disadvantage if he fought with the opponent because he couldn't really hurt the opponent. He also had to not let the opponent hurt him. He had to show that he was not pretending and was really fighting with all his strength. He wasn't a graduate from Beijing Film Academy or Shanghai Drama Academy. He really didn't know how to act. Kwang. Wen Xiao suddenly kicked open the room where Su Yin was. He was going to use Su Yin as a hostage and take the opportunity to seek some advice. What surprised Wen Xiao was that he clearly saw Su Yin in the room just now, but now the room was empty. Did he disappear into thin air? Damn. There was a secret passage in this place. It was high, really high. If the bosses in Dongguan had thought of this way earlier, they wouldn't have all been ordered to close down during the crackdown. No wonder there was no criminal evidence of the Jutsai group in any matter. They could be so thorough in such a small bathing center. You want to use the guests to threaten me? Zhao Honglong was indeed a little surprised by Wen Zhao's behavior, because he didn't feel that he had much of an advantage in the confrontation between the two. So he felt that Wen Xiao didn't need to do this. Fortunately, the guests in the room had already been taken away. In fact, even if there were guests in the room, so what if they were used as hostages? Zhao Honglong wasn't a kind-hearted person. Even if there were hostages, he wouldn't really care if Wen Xiao hurt them, right? Wen Xiao sneered. I just feel that the space outside is still too big. We can fight to our heart's content here. Okay, I've said it before. No matter how you want to play, I'll accompany you. Zhao Honglong had to delay the other party. Presumably, the big boss knew that someone needed his help and would definitely realize the seriousness of the matter. It wouldn't be long before he rushed over. Although the two of them did not show any signs of weakness verbally, it was obvious that they were deliberately stalling for time. After all, the two of them had the same idea. In any case, this wouldn't do Wen Xiao any harm. Wen Xiao would just waste his time. After a few minutes, Zhao Honglong began to have some doubts. The other party had not made a move for so long. Could it be that the other party no longer had the ability to make a move? Or was the other party injured and no longer a match for him? Thinking of this, Zhao Honglong, who was eager to make a contribution, suddenly launched an attack. He struck out at lightning speed, directly aiming for Wen Zhao's heart. Wen Xiao retreated to avoid the other party's attack, and immediately kicked Zhao Honglong's face. Zhao Honglong's reaction was also very fast. He tilted his head and quickly attacked Wen Zhao's left rib with an eagle claw. Wen Xiao used offense as defense. He turned around and lashed out with a whip kick. Zhao Honglong's reaction was too late, and could only block with both arms. This kick caused Zhao Honglong's arms to go numb. His fingers couldn't help but tremble slightly. What a powerful kick. Zhao Honglong knew very well that in a one-on-one fight, he was probably not the opponent of this guy in front of him. It was because this guy had always been wary that they were in a stalemate. As a person, it's better to take a step back so that we can meet again in the future. Wen Xiao said, today we can be considered friends from an exchange of blows. Instead of fighting to the death, why don't you and I each take a step back? Isn't it a little too late to say this now? At this point, Zhao Honglong had to endure even if he had to grit his teeth. Continue fighting. The general manager of the Heavenly Palace No. 1 Sauna Center, the bespectacled man, finally waited for the arrival of the boss. A rather low-key Audi A8 appeared. He realized that this kind of thing probably wouldn't alarm the big boss. This was the car of the second boss of the Jutsai group. Among the several bosses of the Jutsai group, the second boss should be the most shrewd and tactful. The establishment of Heavenly Palace No. 1 was basically the second boss idea. At that time, many people didn't understand. For the Jutsai group, how much money could a large-scale sauna center make? They really didn't care about these small profits. The reason why the Heavenly Palace No. 1 Sauna Center was to use it to divert the police's attention. Everyone knew very well that the people who set up this kind of place would not be sentenced to death if they were caught. However, they would definitely be beheaded for those illegal things they did under the guise of international trade. They spent a lot of energy on this sauna center, so that the police couldn't catch them and couldn't get evidence that could be used against them. Then this diversion would always exist, greatly reducing the possibility of them being discovered for engaging in other illegal activities. Second boss, you're finally here. Along is confronting that person upstairs. The bespectacled man hurriedly rushed to the door of the car to help the second boss open the door. A man about 35 years old got out of the car. He was wearing a simple short-sleeved tang suit, loose Chinese casual pants, and a pair of white cloth shoes. After he heard the report, he smiled and continued to play with a pair of walnuts in his hands. Seeing that the second boss didn't respond, the bespectacled man continued, "That guy is really not an ordinary person. Zhu Chang and more than a dozen people are not his opponents." Ha ha ha, if Zhu Chang and the others can handle it, Along really doesn't need to do anything. The second boss smiled and said, "Let's go. Take me to see the guests who know about the secret passage first." The secret passage of the sauna center had not been used many times. Even if the police raided, they could always get the news in advance. Therefore, there were very few guests who really knew about their secret passage. It was used once when Heavenly Palace number 1 was first opened. This should be the second time. The bespectacled man was stunned. Second boss. Along is still on the second floor with that person. That's just right. He can be of use. Otherwise, wouldn't it be too easy for him to spend half a year here? The second boss said with a smile, not angry at all. He will do what he should do. And I will do what I should do. Yes. The bespectacled man didn't dare to have any objection. He quickly took the second boss to a fully enclosed room that all the guests had entered through the secret passage. At this time, the room was already full of smoke. The guests and ladies were all holding cigarettes in their hands. They were all smoking to relieve their uneasiness. Hearing that there was finally a sound, everyone cast their eyes over. Led by the bespectacled man, the second boss walked into the smoky room. As soon as he came in, he frowned. The reason was very simple. He didn't smoke, so he didn't like the smell of second-hand smoke. Usually, only the big boss dared to smoke in front of the second boss. Others would have been scolded long ago. But today was different. Today these people were all guests. They were all their parents. So what if they smoked? Of course, he wouldn't point at the guests' noses and tell them, "Don't let me smell the smoke in your mouth in the future. Otherwise, I'll cut off your tongue." Of course, he couldn't say such things. He could only silently endure the pain brought to him by the second-hand smoke. It was like a father smoking in front of his son. No matter how much the son didn't like the smell, he could only endure it. He really didn't have any tricks up his sleeve. What the hell is going on? Are we still going to have fun today? How do we calculate the time we wasted? Whose fault is it? That's right. Just when I was having fun, my mood was suddenly dampened. Can I still come here to play in the future? Is it going to be free of charge today? Free of charge? It must be free of charge today. Otherwise, we won't come here in the future. What the hell is this? Many guests saw that there was someone in charge here. They all began to complain about their dissatisfaction. Moreover, they were all quite dissatisfied. Their purpose was very simple. They wanted to ask for a free of charge. Su Yin was speechless at these people. All they wanted was to get some free sex, and that was that. Chapter 1938. Oh, I'm so sorry, everyone. I'm so sorry. We don't know how such an unreliable customer came out of the sauna center. The second boss was very amiable and approachable. He didn't put on any airs at all. He immediately apologized when he heard the complaints. He was really like a businessman, but his apology couldn't give the customers any substantial benefits. So after he finished speaking, no one quieted down. They were still shouting their own ideas and opinions. Some said that it was free of charge, some said that it didn't count and they should start over. There were even more outrageous ones who said that they should compensate him. Anyway, there were all kinds of requests, but the amiable second boss had no intention of explaining at all. He just listened to everyone's various requests very quietly. From time to time he would smile, as if he was telling all the customers that he understood their feelings. Even the gentle-looking bespectacled man couldn't take it anymore. He tried to stop the customers' increasingly excessive demands. "Everyone, please stop. We'll definitely provide you with the service you deserve, but you can't ask for too much, right? I can give you a discount, but if you keep pestering us like this, our boss will." "It's okay. Let them continue. I'm curious about what other requests you have." The second boss smiled slightly, as if he didn't care at all. One person had already made an extremely outrageous request. He said that he was scared this time. He definitely needed to go to the hospital to see a doctor. And every time he saw a doctor, he wanted to find a woman to test if he could still do it. So he asked the Heavenly Palace No. 1 Sauna Center to provide him with a free 1-year experimental period. In other words, during this 1 year, he could come to Heavenly Palace No. 1 to have fun at any time. It was a service that should be provided to him. 1 year? What did that mean? If he came every day for 365 days, that would be ridiculous. Of course not. The gentle-looking man would never let these unreasonable requests continue. But since the second boss had spoken, he couldn't say anything. He could only let these people continue to make unreasonable requests. "Look, this is the difference between your boss and you." Some customers had already begun to despise the manager with glasses. Then they smiled and said to the second boss, "I think I'm sick too. Just give me 500,000 yuan for my medical expenses. I'll still visit Heavenly Palace No. 1 in the future." The second boss just nodded and smiled without saying a word. When one person asked for money, there would be a second. Everyone followed suit. Finally, after more than 10 minutes of intense speech, everyone had finished stating their conditions. In order to show that he was also a real customer, Suyin also made an unreasonable request. His request was relatively simple. He said that he had just arrived in Xinjiang and did not want to cause trouble for himself. As long as Heavenly Palace No. 1 gave him a 30% discount card, he would not care about this matter. After everyone had made their requests, the second boss began to speak with a smile. "Dear friends, we're all brothers from all over the world. It's fate that brought us together. If it weren't for today's incident, we wouldn't have had such an opportunity to meet each other. Don't you think so?" "Yes, yes, yes. It's our honor to know the boss." Everyone expressed that it was very good because the boss didn't have any airs at all. He was very approachable. "Since we are so fated to be friends, can you give me some face as a friend?" The smile on the second boss's face was still hanging high. "Let's pretend that nothing happened today. Take back those requests you made. This way we'll all be good friends. What do you think?" Everyone instantly fell silent. What was this person trying to do? He had been smiling all the time and seemed to have agreed to their conditions. But now he suddenly changed his mind and asked them to take back their conditions. "If you're willing to be good friends with me, you can give me face and take back your conditions. I'll also give you face. We're all friends. Don't you think so?" The second boss continued. Someone didn't want to continue listening. "If that's the case, there's no point in us being friends, right? Forget it. You can still compensate me however you want. I won't be friends with you today." The person who took the lead spoke. He really felt that he had nothing to fear. "Sigh if you say that. I'm also very sorry to lose a good friend." After the second boss finished speaking, he suddenly waved his hand. The bodyguard who drove him here had been silent all this time. After seeing this gesture, he suddenly made his move. This move was really shocking. The expressionless bodyguard grabbed the guy who didn't want to be friends with the back of his hand. His right hand pinched the guy's left arm and snapped it in the opposite direction. A hair-raising bone-cracking sound was heard, and the customer's left arm was twisted in an unimaginable way. Everyone in the room had goosebumps when they heard the blood-curdling screams. Even the faces of the staff and technicians present turned pale. Immediately after, the bodyguard was about to do the same to the customer's right arm. After this person realized his current situation, he screamed and begged for mercy. "Boss. I'll hand it over. I'll be friends with you. I beg you, let me go. I don't have any more conditions. However, the second boss didn't seem to hear him. He didn't say a word. When the bodyguard saw this, he didn't hesitate for even a second, and unceremoniously broke the man's right arm again. Under the intense pain, the man groaned miserably and then fainted from the pain. Seeing this miserable situation, everyone couldn't help but swallow their saliva. A quick-witted fatty stood up immediately. Boss is really a straightforward person. I'll definitely be friends with you. I'll pretend that nothing happened today. Ha ha ha, we'll all be friends in the future. If there's anything, just say the word. We'll drink together another day. Let's eat together. That's a good friend. You've given me enough face. The second boss smiled slightly and expressed his praise to the fatty. This guy was really a smiling tiger. His smile wasn't fake at all. It was as if the evil act just now wasn't ordered by him. Soo-yeon couldn't help but admire him. Jukai Group was really full of talents. No wonder such a criminal gang could last so long. This was related to the ability of the core leader. If Jukai Group was full of such people, it would be really difficult to deal with. Because you couldn't see what these people were thinking in their minds. These things really made people feel incomparable fear. Boss, if there's nothing else, I'll go pay the bill and leave first. The fatty had already begun to prepare to leave. Paying some money and leaving was definitely the best choice now. Seeing that the quick-witted fatty got a good result, everyone was ready to follow suit and express their willingness to be friends. Laughing and silently getting rid of a group of troublesome people, with just one move to make an example out of them. Awesome. Don't. We're all good friends. Why are you in such a hurry to leave? Sit down and chat for a while. It's fine. The second boss said. We're all good friends, aren't we? Without needing the fatty to say anything, everyone followed suit. Just as the second boss was dealing with these customers, the chicken mommy also escaped downstairs. Knowing that the second boss was here, she almost crawled to the second boss side. Second boss, Along is in room 8 on the 3rd floor, and that person. Why are you so noisy? Can't you see that I'm chatting with so many friends? The second boss frowned and looked up at the chicken mommy. The woman trembled at that moment, and didn't dare to speak again. Take your girls and leave. There's nothing for you to do here. The second boss was a little impatient as he ordered. There was no sound in the entire room. The chicken mommy hurriedly asked all the technicians to leave with her. Room 8 on the 3rd floor. It seems like there's going to be a good show here. The second boss smiled and looked at the gentleman with glasses. Since there's going to be a good show and so many of my good friends are here, shouldn't I share it with everyone? The gentleman with glasses immediately understood the second boss's meaning. He nodded heavily and said, yes. After saying that, the gentleman with glasses quickly turned on the huge television hanging on the wall. After asking his subordinates to get the remote control, he adjusted it, and the scene of room 8 on the 3rd floor directly appeared in front of everyone's eyes. There's a surveillance camera in the room. This was the first thought that popped into Soo-yeon's mind. What the F***ck, this damn sauna center is really poisonous. If that's the case, there should be surveillance cameras in every room. Moreover, it was hidden very well because even Soo-yeon didn't notice it. The surveillance camera was in high definition. Both Wen Xiao and Zhao Honglong in the room could see clearly. Even the beads of sweat on their faces could be seen clearly. Chapter 1939. Soon, everyone present realized the second boss's intention. If there was a camera in this room, then the other rooms would also have hidden pinhole cameras. In other words, everything they did in the sauna room with the technician was exposed to the hidden camera. Damn it. This is simply too insidious. This is simply too despicable. The group of people who had just regained some color on their faces were once again pale, especially the fatty. The difference in mentality was too great. Just now, he had almost made a good friend and let him leave. Now he had become the main character of the movie. Everyone present had been secretly photographed and recorded. This had already become a fact. Soo-yeon heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. He really didn't do anything and just let the girl dance. Even if this kind of video was posted on the internet, it didn't matter. There were no leaks. No one wanted to click on it. I am my good friends. The second boss said. I don't know what you all did in your respective rooms. I'm very curious. No one dared to speak. They had completely fallen into a deep pit. Their weakness was in the hands of others. This feeling was really very bad. This feeling was really annoying. If they were given a choice, they would definitely not do this kind of thing. It was too insecure. Ha ha ha, I'm just joking with my good friends. The second boss laughed again. Everyone knows what to do here. Even if I don't watch it, I can still know what shameful things you all did in the room. Since everyone is good friends, it's not very good for you to do this, right? This is our privacy. The fat guest couldn't bear it anymore. He didn't want the news to spread. Then his wife, children, and family would be completely finished. It was a pity that he didn't think about this terrible problem before he came here. Now that he realized it, it was all too late. It was already irreversible. Second boss said seriously. Yes, we are good friends. Of course, I wouldn't record your privacy. I really didn't do it. If you want to find trouble, find him. He is the manager here. He did it. It has nothing to do with me. I definitely didn't destroy the relationship between our good friends. At this time, everyone understood that they were now completely under his control. There was nothing else to say. Continuing to play the game of being good friends with him could no longer arouse their spirits. What they needed now was a safe promise, a stable promise. It would be best if the video was deleted in front of them. Tell me, what's wrong with you? Why are you messing with my good friend's video? The second boss glared at the refined bespectacled man and roared. The bespectacled man looked aggrieved. He didn't know what to do, but this was really his second boss idea. He could only take the blame. Sigh, but what's done is done. There's nothing I can do. The second boss said. In that case, I can only hope that my good friends and I have a mutual promise. What promise? Everyone immediately perked up. Now, as long as the video was given to them, even if they had to climb a mountain of swords or swim in a sea of fire, it wouldn't be a problem. The second boss smiled slightly. Promise me that no one will tell anyone about the secret passage of my place. Once I find out that there are people other than you who know about the secret passage of Heavenly Palace number 1, none of your videos will be left. All of them will be spread on the internet, and will be spread to the most famous video websites. Let the whole country see your faces, photos, and screenshots. I can make you popular on any big tieba. What he said was true. It was too easy for rich people to find internet water army. If second boss wanted them to be popular, it was just a matter of a sentence. Then what will it take for you to give us the video? The fat man was anxious. He was really scared. Of course I can't give it to you. If I give it to you, what conditions do I have to be good friends with you? The second boss said. I will help my good friends to keep it forever. As long as you don't talk nonsense when you go out. This thing will never see the light of day. As long as one of you talks nonsense, you will all be unlucky. Everyone obviously couldn't accept this result. They could guarantee that they wouldn't talk nonsense, but who could guarantee that others wouldn't? This wouldn't do. Also, as long as this matter spreads out, you know very well that I will definitely find the person who leaked this matter. The second boss suddenly stopped smiling. His gloomy face gave people a very scary feeling. I swear, I will make him suffer 10,000 times more than this person with broken arms. Because I hate people who betray their friends the most. I will personally break all the bones in his body, one by one. All of them. I mean what I say. This kind of threat almost made people breathless. It was too scary, really too scary. Phew. My dear friends, don't think that I am a bad person. In fact, I am not bad at all. I am a very easy person to get along with. As long as you treat me well, I will treat each of you well. Really, I am such a person. I beg you, you must destroy my video. I can give you money, however much you want. The fat man was almost begging. We are friends. Don't mention money. The second boss didn't even look at him. The refined glasses man said fiercely. Do you think our boss is short of money? Humph. We swear that we will never tell anyone. Everyone said almost at the same time. This is what I wanted to hear the most. You are really my good friends. The second boss smile was very happy. I love you all so much. Really, really love you all so much. No one was paying attention to the television except for Soo-yun. Of course, this couldn't escape the eyes of the second boss. He smiled at the customer who had asked for a 30% discount card and said with a smile, "Is this television program that good?" Soo-yun was startled. He realized that his actions had attracted this person's attention. It was all his fault for not being careful. This room is the room I was in. Soo-yun was famous for being calm. After experiencing so many things, he naturally became calm quickly. I think again. If I hadn't been brought out just now, I'm afraid that now. Phew, I don't even dare to think about it. This troublemaker is too powerful. Maybe he has already taken me as a hostage. Hearing Soo-yun's explanation, the second boss relaxed his vigilance against Soo-yun again. He also glanced at the television. At this moment, the two people in the surveillance camera were panting to the limit, especially Along. He clearly saw that Along had no strength to clench his fists. The protagonist tonight didn't have much advantage either. He was also almost exhausted. However, this guy was really powerful. He could force Along to such a state. Talent, he was definitely a talent. Why was Jukai Group called Jukai Group? It was because they liked talents. The second boss really couldn't bear to let such a person go. Aku, go and help Zhao Honglong. I think he has really done his best. Keep him alive. I want to see this person in person. The second boss said lightly. Although Aku's strength is not much different from Zhao Honglong's, the two of them are more than enough to deal with an exhausted person. The second boss's bodyguard immediately said yes, and then quickly left upstairs. He understood what the second boss meant. He wanted to see this person in person, which meant that he was interested in this person. Everyone knew that the second boss liked people. As soon as Aku left, the second boss motioned for the bespectacled man to turn off the television. My good friends, I won't let you see the next scene. I don't want you to have nightmares every night in the future. The second boss smiled. I like to consider the feelings of my friends the most. My friends, you must remember my feelings when you do things in the future. Of course, of course. The fat man was an absolute supporter. I swear, all of us swear, we will never do anything that you don't want us to do. The second boss hated this fat man for wasting time. Generally, fat men like to waste time. You don't have to beg me. The video can't be destroyed. But whether the storage is safe or not, that's really up to you. Well friends, today's gathering will end here. If you want to continue playing, wait for a while. Wait until the matter upstairs is settled. If you don't want to play, you can pay the bill at the front desk. After that, the second boss stood up and left. I won't see you out. It seemed that he didn't suspect Soo-yun at all. He didn't ask Soo-yun any more questions. Soo-yun could also tell from the man's tone that he would definitely keep Wen Xiao alive. He admired people with such strength. Chapter 1940. The group of people, who were originally clamoring for a free bill and medical fees, rushed to pay the bill. The bespectacled man looked at the figure of the second boss and secretly admired him. If this kind of thing happened again in the future, he knew how to deal with it. The best way was to kill one as an example to others. The second boss didn't want to waste time on these customers. Xinjiang had a population of tens of millions. There were only a few dozen customers. What was the big deal? It really wasn't a big deal. There was an endless stream of customers who came to play in Tiangong No. 1 every day. Although they knew that they had been photographed, they definitely wouldn't come again. So what? Tiangong No. 1 still made a lot of money every year. Moreover, the Jutsai group really didn't care about this small amount of money. Actually, there was another point. The second boss wasn't afraid that they would leak the secret passage. So what if these people knew about the secret passage? They didn't know about the mechanism at all. At that time, their eyes were probably staring at the girl's body, right? Moreover, every technician had received professional training. They absolutely couldn't open the mechanism under the gaze of the customers. Soo-yun was an exception. This was because the girl who served him didn't even treat Soo-yun as a customer. Soo-Yun wasn't like those people who couldn't take their eyes off the smooth body. Therefore, even if these people leaked the secret passage, the police wouldn't be able to find out how to open the secret passage. Without the help of the mechanism, the TV cabinet couldn't be moved at all. The second boss was a meticulous person. Therefore, he absolutely wouldn't allow any mistakes to happen. Even if everything was under his control, he still wanted to gather all the girls who had opened the mechanism today. Dozens of girls stood in front of the second boss. They all thought that the second boss wanted to sleep with someone on a whim. Mother Chicken also looked at the second boss expectantly. When she saw the second boss's gaze sweep across every girl, she became more and more excited. Second boss, the girls under me are all little experts. They are proficient in everything. They will definitely satisfy you, Mother Chicken said with a smile. The chicken mommy said with a flattering smile, "How about this? I'll find 2 good girls for you to prepare." "That won't be necessary," the second boss faintly said. These rouge powders really couldn't enter his eyes. He liked young ones now. These things couldn't arouse his interest at all. "I called you here to ask you a question. You must answer me truthfully. If anyone doesn't answer me truthfully, then don't blame me for not caring about friendship." Hearing the second boss's words, Mother Hen immediately made a military order. "Second boss, don't worry. They won't dare to lie to you. That would be for the best." The second boss smiled. "Let me ask you, when you were activating the lights today, did any of you let the customers see it?" As soon as the second boss asked this question, Ting Ting, who was serving Soo-Yun, was stunned. She remembered very clearly that she was very anxious at that time, so she didn't avoid Soo-Yun at all. She directly turned on the switch of the wall lamp in front of Soo-Yun. And Soo-Yun showed a surprised expression at that time. Many of the girls said that they were very careful and followed the instructions carefully. They definitely didn't let the customers see them activate the switch. The customers discovered the secret passage without knowing it. The second boss looked at each of the girls with a smile. "You know very well that this is very important to us. Our absolute safety here is also for your own good. How safe Tiangong number 1 is how safe you are. Therefore, we must absolutely eliminate the existence of danger." That's right. Our ladies are very careful," Mommy Hen quickly said. "If any of you didn't notice it, tell me now. I know which customer saw it clearly and can do some remedial measures." The second boss said, "So don't hide it from me." The girl, Ting Ting, knew what the second boss meant. The remedial measures were to get rid of the customer who knew about the switch. Phew. She felt all the hair on her body stand up. It was too scary. If she told the second boss about this, it would be the same as putting the little handsome guy's life in danger. "Tell me," the second boss said. "Is there anyone who was careless? Don't worry, I won't blame you. Everyone makes mistakes. It's good as long as you know your mistakes and can make up for them in time." No girl spoke. It seemed that everyone was very careful. The second boss clapped his hands in satisfaction. "Good, very good. You all did very well. I like people like you who are careful." Just as Ting Ting heaved a sigh of relief, the second boss spoke again. "Even so, for safety reasons, I still have to arrange for people to check the surveillance cameras carefully. If I find that someone didn't report truthfully, or someone who activated the switch was seen by the customers, I believe you all know what the consequences will be." Ting Ting's heart, which had just calmed down, was once again in suspense. "I'll give you 1 more minute to think about it," the second boss said unhurriedly. Aku had been on the 3rd floor for a few minutes, but there were still sounds of fighting upstairs. It seemed that the troublemaker was indeed a great talent. He wasn't in a hurry. The battle upstairs would be resolved sooner or later. This minute felt like a year to Ting Ting. After struggling for a while, she finally raised her right hand out of fear. A cold light flashed across the second boss's eyes. "Speak, second boss." I was too nervous at that time, so I really wasn't sure if I saw it or not," Ting Ting said carefully. I didn't deliberately avoid it. She was so nervous that she couldn't speak properly. Mother Hen was furious. She went forward and slapped her. "Why didn't you say it when I asked you to?" The girl cried immediately. I was scared. I was really scared. Please forgive me. The second boss smiled. It's okay. It's not too late to say it now. Which room are you in? Room 8 on the 3rd floor. It's where the troublemaker is now. Her guest is the one who asked for the discount card from you just now. Another girl hurriedly said in order to show off. Very good. You're very observant. The second boss praised her. Then he said to Mother Hen. What are you waiting for? Go and remind your manager. He will know how to deal with this matter. Yes. At this time, Tingting was in deep self-reproach. She betrayed Su Yin for herself. It was a very bad feeling. In fact, she was very professional. She knew that she couldn't have any feelings for the guest. However, at this moment, she still felt worried for the guest. You discovered your mistake in time. I won't punish you. The second boss could see that the girl was nervous. But you can't make the same mistake twice. Do you understand? Tiangong number 1 doesn't raise people with no brains and no memory. Yes. I will remember your words, second boss. The girl was so nervous that her heart was in her throat. She was really afraid that the second boss would get angry and throw her into the river to feed the fish. She had heard that similar things had happened in Tiangong number 1 in the past. There was a girl who didn't listen to the second boss. The second boss got angry and asked all the thugs in the place to rape the girl until she became delirious. Then they threw her into the river to feed the fish. At this time, the fighting upstairs finally stopped. The second boss's face showed a gratified smile. After Mother Hen informed the manager, she immediately rushed back. When she saw the second boss get up, she quickly stood behind him and listened to his orders. Something happened today. It means that everything is not good. Let the girls rest. The second boss said lightly. I'll go upstairs and see what's going on. Second boss, why don't you arrange for someone to go upstairs and see what's going on first? Mother Hen said worriedly. Her flattery had hit the nail on the head. The second boss didn't even look at her. I don't need you to worry about me. The second boss left expressionlessly. Just do what I told you to do. Chapter 1941. At this moment on the 3rd floor, when Xiao was really exhausted, Zhao Honglong was completely lying on the ground, unable to get up. All he could do was gasp for breath. He had never met such a strong opponent. Even when he and Aku had surrounded him, they still could not defeat him completely. Aku was also adjusting his breathing. He had already realized that his opponent had basically given up on fighting back. Since the second boss wanted him alive, he would no longer be aggressive. As long as his opponent did not do anything excessive, he would just continue to wear him down. When Xiao leaned his back against the wall, guarding against the reinforcements in front of him, he felt that his throat was about to burst into flames. The sweat all over his body had completely soaked his clothes. He knew that he was going to be dehydrated. If this continued, he would not be able to hold on. The three of them fought indoors to the corridor, then indoors to the corridor again. When Xiao no longer had the strength to fight, he was also waiting for the real mastermind to appear. Clap, clap, clap. A few rounds of applause sounded. The second boss appeared in the corridor on the 3rd floor while clapping his hands. Friend, you are really a master among masters to be able to force our two great generals to such a state. Wen Zhao's intuition told him that the person he had been waiting for had finally appeared. As long as the real core member of the Jutsai group could appear, all his hard work and effort tonight would not be in vain. Ha 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 ha. You guys are really something. If one is not enough, then two. If two are not enough, then three. Okay, come on. Come on. I am afraid of everything, but I am not afraid of death. Wen Xiao sneered. If you can't kill me today, then none of you can leave this place alive. Shameless boasting. Ku said angrily. If the second boss had not arrived, he would definitely have attacked again and taught this guy who had no combat power a lesson. The second boss did not show any disgust. Friend, you are already in such a state, yet you still dare to say such things. I really admire you. But sometimes, a person has to adapt to the situation and use his brain. Otherwise, he will not be able to achieve anything. Wen Zhao's gaze never left the second boss. He was trying his best to analyze the identity of this person. From his words and actions, he was trying to determine whether he was a core member of the Jutsai group. Wearing sunglasses indoors at night, my friend, you have good taste, the second boss said again. Judging from his words, actions, and aura, Wen Xiao was sure that he was definitely a person who had been through a lot. Therefore, he dared to bet that this guy was definitely one of the core members of the Jutsai group. Otherwise, he wouldn't have such an aura and performance. The second boss muttered in his heart again. People who wear sunglasses on their faces are either celebrities who don't want people to pay attention to their private lives or criminals who can't be seen. And the person in front of him obviously couldn't be a celebrity. If a celebrity had such skills, then Master Long and Master Jia wouldn't be able to survive, and that Zidan wouldn't be able to act in an action movie. Therefore, the second boss concluded that he was a criminal, at first glance. His intuition also told him that this person must have been involved in a murder case. Otherwise, he wouldn't have such a strong murderous aura. Second boss had come into contact with many people like this, so he was very familiar with that kind of murderous aura. This person must be someone who carried the lives of many people on his back. Wen Xiao had been in the Southeast Asian mercenary circle for many years, so it was normal for him to have a lot of lives on his hands. It was impossible for people who came out of that kind of place to not have a murderous aura. This kind of murderous aura couldn't be hidden even if one wanted to. If you want to do it, then do it. Don't dawdle like a woman. Although Wen Xiao had exhausted his strength, his mouth was still unforgiving. In order to gain the other party's trust, he was already prepared to endure physical pain. Second boss, don't talk nonsense with him. Let me kill him. Aku couldn't stand Wen Xiao's arrogance anymore. Second boss. Wen Xiao repeated this name in his heart. It seemed that his guess was right. A person who could make such a master ask for instructions was definitely not a simple person. He must be a core member of the Jutsai group. Since he was the second boss, it was more likely that he was the second in command of the Jutsai group. This was definitely good news for Wen Xiao. However, Wen Xiao had to keep his composure. He had to hold back his excitement and prepare himself for all the trials that awaited him. Second boss waved his hand to signal Aku not to be impulsive. He walked forward slowly. Now that he was closer to Wen Xiao, he could see him more clearly. However, his eyes couldn't be seen under the sunglasses, so he couldn't tell what the other party was thinking. Friend, my name is Guang. My biggest characteristic is that I like to make friends. Second boss looked at Wen Xiao and said seriously. Aku was very surprised that the second boss had actually told him his real name. That's right. The name list flashed through Wen Xiao's mind quickly. Guang. He was ranked second on the list. Guang. That's right. It's him. The second in command of the Jutsai group. Finally, Wen Xiao felt as if a huge stone had been lifted from his heart. Friend, don't you want to introduce yourself? Guang smiled slightly. Can we be considered friends from an exchange of blows? I'm afraid there's no reason for us to get to know each other, right? Although Wen Xiao was excited, he still showed a kind of indifference. Guang seemed to be particularly fond of smiling. In the face of Wen Xiao's indifference, he didn't feel disgusted at all. Instead, he became more interested. Friend, the current situation seems like you have no right to negotiate with me, right? But it doesn't matter. I'll give you a chance to negotiate with me. Second boss, this guy is very dangerous. Zhao Honglong panted and said. Don't waste time with him. Quick, let Aku deal with him. He can't hold on anymore. Along, you just lie here and rest, Guang said lightly. You know me. We're all brothers. There's no misunderstanding that can't be solved. Second boss, he is too dangerous. Guang still insisted. Every one of you is dangerous, isn't it? Wen Xiao could see that this guy wanted to get in touch with him, but he had to figure out his own identity. He was a national S-level wanted criminal. He wouldn't easily let anyone know his identity. I'm not interested in making friends, Wen Xiao emphasized again. But do you think you have any other choice other than this one? Guang said very directly. If you don't want to be friends with me, then let my people deal with you. If you become friends with me, then we'll be on the same side. My people won't dare to be disrespectful to you. Wen Xiao was stunned, but he still pretended to be vigilant. Yiwen Guang said, I can see that you have to be careful and cautious. I can also guess that there must be something on you. How did you know? Wen Xiao became nervous. His reaction was very big, and his behavior was very exaggerated. After Yiwen Guang saw it, he was sure of his judgment. This guy must have a case on him. Suddenly, Yiwen Guang's eyes lit up. He seemed to have thought of the information that his big brother, Yiwen Yang, had showed them this morning. It was said that a national S-level wanted criminal had entered Xinjiang and had been confirmed. Now all the police force was focused on this matter. Therefore, if they had any goods coming in and out in the next few days, they had to seize the time to measure them. It was absolutely safe during this period. For some reason, Yiwen Guang associated the person in front of him with the S-class wanted criminal. Although he had seen the S-level wanted criminal's photo, his hairstyle was completely different. But the S-level wanted criminal called Wen Xiao had a particularly obvious characteristic. He was blind in one eye. That's right, it was a single eye. This person was wearing sunglasses indoors in the middle of the night. Just based on this point, Yiwen Guang would be suspicious of him. Friend, can I ask you a question? Yiwen Guang smiled slightly. Why are you wearing sunglasses? Is there a problem with your eyes? Wen Xiao immediately showed an unprecedented nervousness. Yiwen Guang also obtained more information from the other party's reaction. This person was the S-level wanted criminal. There was no doubt about it. Chapter 1942. If the person in front of him was Wen Xiao, ordinary people would only feel fear and trepidation. However, it was the complete opposite for Yiwen Guang. He liked this kind of talent because once this kind of person was used by him, it would bring unimaginable intangible wealth to the Jukai group. Yiwen Guang narrowed his eyes and stared closely at Wen Zhao's every move. Friend, perhaps I already know who you are. Although the picture on your wanted poster is an earlier picture given by the authorities, and you look very different from the picture in the internal police files, I still recognize you, Wen Xiao. The atmosphere became very tense in an instant. Wen Xiao had quietly clenched his fists. His whole body was tense, trying to find an opportunity to fight like a cornered beast. Don't be nervous. I have no ill intentions towards you. Yiwen Guang said. I guess your disguise is very good. However, the fact that you only have one eye can't be solved by a disguise. That's why you've been wearing glasses and not taking them off, right? The technician who served him said that it was because he accidentally dropped his glasses during the activity. That's why he became angry out of embarrassment. The thugs who had been knocked down before gradually regained some clarity. When they heard the second boss speak, they immediately conveyed some of the information that the technician had told the chicken mommy to the second boss. The second boss smiled slightly. It seems that I don't need to speculate anymore. I just need to see the video that was taken by the invisible surveillance camera when you had sex with our technician. That will prove all of this. F***CK. There was an invisible surveillance camera in the room. When Xiao really had to hand it to these people, then wouldn't all of his perverted behavior be recorded inside? He really wasn't a pervert. He just wanted to make the young lady unable to stand him faster. That's why he deliberately did some things. Forget it. If the people in the Jukai group knew that he was a pervert, they would probably believe that he was a real wanted criminal, a real villain, a bad guy. Then they would probably appreciate him even more. Even if you know what kind of person I am, so what? Wen Xiao wasn't afraid to shed all pretense of cordiality. Today there are only two paths to choose from. Either the fish dies or the net breaks. You haven't asked me to admit defeat yet, so don't use the tone of a victor to talk to me. No one knows what will happen later. No. Mr. Wen, please believe that I mean no harm. I can swear. As Yiwen Guang spoke, he actually raised 3 fingers and pointed to the sky. I swear to God that if I have any ill intentions towards Mr. Wen, I will die a horrible death. Actually, we do have a third option. Wen Xiao sneered. Clearly, he had no interest in Yiwen Guang's oath. I am from Huaxia. I only believe in the gods of Huaxia. Who is God? Can he do anything about it? Then I will swear to whoever Mr. Wen wants me to swear to. Yi Wenguang really loved talent. Because they knew Wen Zhao's identity, Aku and the exhausted Zhao Honglong were very surprised. This S-level wanted criminal, who had just entered Xinjiang, had actually appeared in front of them. They had to admit that they felt quite shocked. No need. I only believe in myself, Wen Xiao said bluntly. Mr. Wen, I think you need to listen to my third option. Maybe it won't be a bad thing for both of us. Yi Wenguang was still very patient. I hope you can calm down and think about what I said. Wen Zhao's face showed a smile for the first time. Although it was very disdainful, it still made Yi Wenguang feel hopeful. The third option, you tell me. Although Wen Xiao said so, his tone didn't mean that he believed Yi Wenguang at all. The third option. Maybe we can establish a cooperative relationship, Yi Wenguang said. Hearing the second boss's words, Zhao Honglong and Aku were stunned. This was the hottest wanted criminal in the country now. What was the second boss trying to do? Was he trying to get himself into trouble? Hadn't Zhu Kai Group always adhered to the principle of keeping a low profile? If they accepted a wanted criminal now, wouldn't it give the police a huge opportunity to take advantage of them? Aku couldn't help but remind him, second boss. You have to think carefully. There's nothing to think about, Yi Wenguang said lightly, directly interrupting Aku's doubts. Your people have already said so. What do you think I'll think? Wen Xiao didn't think much of it. If I take it, I can still exchange it with the police. I'm not stupid enough to trust anyone. Yi Wenguang lowered his head and looked at himself. Did he look very shabby in his casual clothes today? The reward from the police was probably only enough to move those poor people. In today's society, the reward in Xinjiang was not even enough to buy a toilet. In order to show his generosity, Yi Wenguang suddenly threw the walnut in his hand to Wen Xiao. Wen Xiao thought it was a hidden weapon. Seeing that it was just a walnut, he didn't hesitate and caught it. There's a saying in Yanjing City. The three treasures in the hands of Baylor are the thumb ring, the walnut, and the caged bird. Yi Wenguang said. I don't remember if it's really like that, but that's what it means. I wonder if you have any opinion on this pair of walnuts? Wen Xiao looked at the pair of walnuts in his hand and said lightly, I only know that drugs ruin one's life, and walnuts make 3 generations poor. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect Mr. Wen to be so humorous. Yi Wenguang nodded. That's right, it's just as you said. Since ancient times, from emperors, generals, ministers, scholars, and beauties to the lowly officials and commoners, everyone has been proud of having such a pair of exquisite and translucent walnuts that are as bright as mirrors. So what? Wen Xiao wasn't interested in the walnuts. Those who were interested would treat them as treasures. He wasn't interested, so they were worthless. Yi Wenguang smiled slightly and continued to explain to Wen Xiao. During the Ming and Qing dynasties, walnuts reached their peak. The emperor of the Ming dynasty, Zhu Yuxiao, not only played with the walnuts, but he also personally carved them. Hence, there was an unofficial history of Zhu Yuxiao carving the walnuts and forgetting the national affairs. The Qianlong emperor of the Qing dynasty was not only a famous walnut connoisseur, but he also wrote a poem. The sun and the moon spin on my palm. Time wants to turn back. My blood surges. When will my hair turn white? Are you showing off your knowledge of history and culture to me? I'm sorry, but I'm not interested in these things. Wen Xiao said. This pair of walnuts is worthless to me. Aku couldn't help but say. Our second boss spent 650,000 to buy this pair of walnuts. The Qianlong emperor played with them in the past. Oh, it looks like he's really old. Wen Xiao could also see from this guy's face that he wasn't bragging. He was telling the truth. Spend 650,000 to buy a pair of walnuts and play with them in his hand? Can he live 100 years? Mr. Wen, to show my sincerity, you can do whatever you want with them. You can do whatever you want with this pair of walnuts. Even if you crush them on the spot today, I won't complain. Yi Wenguang said. I just want to express that I want to be friends with you. I don't even care about this pair of treasures of mine. Why would I care about the police's reward? Wen Xiao frowned and said, Are you serious? This pair of walnuts. I can do whatever I want with them. Yi Wenguang didn't hesitate at all. Yes, you can do whatever you want with them. I don't even know what being polite is. Wen Xiao didn't even think about it. He exerted force with one hand, and the pair of top-grade walnuts were directly crushed into powder in his hand. Yi Wenguang, who was watching all this, still didn't change his expression. He really liked this pair of walnuts, and they also had an extraordinary meaning. An emperor had used them before. The emperor wasn't anxious, but the eunuch was. Aku and Zhao Honglong were so anxious that they couldn't sit still. This was too much. This was a treasure. I'm a little regretful. Wen Xiao suddenly stopped. Since it's real, it's still an antique cultural relic. It's really a waste for me to destroy it just like that. As long as you like it, so what? Yi Wenguang's words were really too embarrassing. Wen Xiao slightly relaxed his vigilance. The other party was already so generous. It would be too fake if he continued to keep a straight face. At this time, it seemed like it was time to stand up and say something, right? Mr. Wen, now you believe in my sincerity, Yi Wenguang said. Wen Xiao was silent for a moment, then said, Yes, I do trust you. But I still don't understand why you want to be friends with me. We've only met for the first time. Moreover, I've done such things to your subordinates in your territory. After saying that, Wen Xiao took off his glasses, revealing his one-eyed feature, officially proving that he was a genuine S-rank wanted criminal. Wen Xiao. Chapter 1943. After seeing this one-eyed man, Yi Wenguang's heart was inexplicably relieved. No wonder their two masters couldn't take him down. Wen Xiao was indeed Wen Xiao. He could get the secrets in the Huaxia military base and escape from the capital, Yanjing. This was definitely not something an ordinary person could do. Take the current situation for example. Although Wen Xiao had exhausted all his energy in the battle with Zhao Honglong and Aku, Yi Wenguang still dared to say that even if these two people went to the place where Wen Xiao escaped to get the secrets, they wouldn't be able to escape from Yanjing if they cooperated with each other. Yi Wenguang chose Wen Xiao because of his super high personal ability and adaptability. Without a terrifying adaptability, it was absolutely impossible to escape from Yanjing. Yi Wenguang was too clear about what kind of talents their Jutsai group needed the most. What they needed the most was people with super adaptability and great personal ability. Although this kind of person was dangerous and difficult to control, once they could really be used, it would be a huge fortune for the Jutsai group. Compared to Zhao Honglong and Aku, people like Wen Xiao wouldn't be simply used as a bodyguard. Yi Wenguang stretched out his right hand. I'm very happy that we really know each other now. Mr. Wen, I admire you very much. I really admire you very much. And I can tell you very clearly that if we are friends, I can help you know any action the police wants to take against you. Wen Xiao frowned. No wonder the police couldn't collect any evidence of the Jutsai group's crimes. This guy must have a lot of spies in the police. If it weren't for so many people in the police protecting them, he might not have to come here undercover. The police already know that you have entered Xinjiang. Yi Wenguang smiled slightly. I believe that you might think that the police won't confirm it so quickly, but it's true that your whereabouts have been leaked. But I still admire you very much. You can still let go of the pressure and relax in this situation. This is really bold. Wen Xiao sneered. If he wasn't a spy, his whereabouts wouldn't have been discovered in such a short time. Now that Yi Wenguang had thrown out an olive branch, as long as Wen Xiao reached out, he could successfully contact the core figures inside the Jutsai group. I think I still need time to decide if I should trust you or not. Wen Xiao did not intend to let things go so smoothly. The smoother things were, the more suspicious they would be. This saying was absolutely true. Therefore, he couldn't let Yi Wenguang become familiar with him so easily. Yi Wenguang was stunned for a moment, but he quickly understood what Wen Xiao meant. Yes, it did take time. After all, they didn't know each other, and it was only their first meeting. After understanding what Wen Xiao meant, Yi Wenguang generously made way for Wen Xiao. Then he took out his business card and handed it to him. Mr. Wen, I welcome you to contact me at any time. As long as you want to meet me, I'm available at any time. Second boss, second boss. Zhao Honglong was so angry that he wanted to smash a hole in the floor. They had only met once, and yet they valued him so much. He had already been thrown into this damned bathing center for half a year, and had not been put in an important position. Although Aku wanted to remind the second boss whether this was a lack of consideration, he didn't speak in the end because he knew his own identity and the second boss' identity. The problem that he could think of, the boss must have thought of it too. The reason why he still did this was that the boss thought more and thought it was worth it. You're a straightforward person. Wen Xiao finally showed a trace of friendliness to Yi Wenguang, but he didn't take the business card because he knew that it was impossible for him to enter the Jutsai group by taking the initiative to contact them. After all, the Jutsai group did not belong to Yi Wenguang alone. Their big boss, Yi Wenyang, was the real leader of the Jutsai group. The second boss, Yi Wenguang, and the third boss, Yi Wenxing, were all assisting the eldest boss, Yi Wenyang. Although the core of the Jutsai group was not one person, it was composed of many people. But if one wanted to do well in the Jutsai group, it was not enough to just gain Yi Wenguang's trust. One must gain Yi Wenyang's trust. Only then could one be considered a person who could really access the secrets of the Jutsai group. Having contact with Yi Wenguang only allowed Wen Xiao to get close to the Jutsai group. Yi Wenguang just watched Wen Xiao leave. He knew that if he wanted to gain the complete loyalty of such a person, he really had to give this person enough trust. It seemed that it was really necessary to talk to the boss about this matter, and see what the boss thought about this matter. Wen Xiao didn't look back when he left. He couldn't show that he wanted to join the Jutsai group, not even a little bit. This was called loosening the reins only to grasp them better. When you showed that you wanted to stay away, the other side would probably think that you were a delicious cake. On the contrary, the more you wanted to stick to them, the more they wouldn't take you seriously. Second boss, can you help me put in a good word and ask the big boss when I can go back to work? I really don't want to stay here anymore. Zhao Honglong was still tired, but after a period of relief, he could stand up and talk properly. Yi Wenguang glanced at Zhao Honglong. Along, I really don't dare to mention this to the big boss. You should find someone else. Don't, second boss. I beg you, okay? Zhao Honglong almost knelt down in front of Yi Wenguang. I really know that I was wrong. Please help me pass a message to the big boss. I can't see him, and I can't say it to him personally. Along, I think the big boss treats you well. He knows that you like women, so he arranged for you to work here. Isn't it good? Yi Wenguang said. You can do whoever you want here. There are so many beds. You can sleep anywhere. You don't need to open up your territory on the hard desk in the office. Why not? Zhao Honglong really wanted to cry but had no tears. If he was given another chance, he would never do such a stupid thing. I know that I was wrong, second boss. I really know that I was wrong. I will continue to reflect here, but if there is anything that needs me, am willing to bleed. I will definitely do my best for the big boss until I die. Yi Wenguang glanced at Zhao Honglong with appreciation. It's really good to have this kind of awareness. You can rest assured that I will put in a good word for you when I go back. Thank you, second boss. Zhao Honglong was waiting for this sentence. There was no one else who could speak in front of the big boss except for the second boss. Therefore, the second boss was definitely the one who spoke the most. Yi Wenguang saw that there was nothing else, so he was ready to go back. Before he left, he specially instructed the manager to be sure to settle the matter of the guest in room number 8. After he was done, he should contact Yi Wenguang in time to let him know that this matter was over. The manager with glasses nodded again and again. He promised the second boss that this matter would be done beautifully and not leave any trace. Just as Suyin walked out of the sauna center and got on the car, the people he arranged were watching. What they had to do was to find an opportunity to find a way to force the car to stop. Then they would go up and threaten the person to drive the car to a remote place. Then they would directly kill the person and destroy the evidence. Everything was so simple. There were only a few people who worked in the Jutsai group who hadn't done such a heartless thing, so they didn't take it seriously at all. They really didn't take it seriously. Chapter 1944. Suyin noticed that he was being watched the moment he got in the car. He didn't think too much about it. If they wanted to follow him, then let them. They wouldn't be able to play any tricks anyway. Soo-yun certainly wouldn't easily expose his whereabouts and destination. He directly drove in the opposite direction of Xinkai Hotel. Driving west, the further he went from Xinjiang City, the further he went. Although Soo-yun wasn't particularly familiar with the roads in Xinjiang City, he knew that it would be more and more remote if he continued driving like this. The car that had been following Soo-yun didn't seem to want to give Soo-yun too much of a chance. It suddenly accelerated and directly blocked Soo-yun's car. A person quickly jumped out of the car and directly rushed to Soo-yun's car. Soo-yun rolled down the window and pretended to be innocent. What's the meaning of this? I didn't intentionally block the car. What do you mean by this? Do you want to hit me? Then I'll definitely post it on the internet and make you restless. Stop talking nonsense. The person who walked to Soo-yun's car unceremoniously flashed the dagger in his hand. He directly put it through the window and aimed at Soo-yun's face. Open the door and lock it. Soo-yun was pointed at by the dagger, but he didn't resist. He immediately unlocked the door according to the person's request. The person quickly opened the back door and directly sat in Soo-yun's car. Then he held the dagger behind the driver's seat and continued to threaten Soo-yun. Follow the car in front closely. Wherever he goes, you follow. Otherwise, I'll slit your throat right now. Don't. It's really not necessary. If you want money, I'll give you money. Soo-yun. If you threaten me with a dagger, I won't drive anymore. It's too dangerous to drive. If I'm distracted and rear-end someone, we'll all be in trouble. Stop talking nonsense. Do whatever I tell you to do. Why do you have so many reasons? If you dare to rear-end someone, I'll dare to stab you to death. If you don't believe me, go ahead and try. The man threatened fiercely. Obviously, he wasn't joking. As he spoke, the dagger was already pressed against Soo-yun's neck. The cold blade really made Soo-yun alert. Soo-yun quickly said, I'll drive. I'll drive seriously. I promise there won't be any mistakes. But don't put the knife so close to me. You might hurt me if you start and stop. This knife is too sharp. Can you not give me so much pressure? If you really cut my neck, wouldn't I be done for? It's good that you know. When the man saw that Soo-yun was starting to get scared, he stopped being so aggressive. He withdrew the dagger and ordered Soo-yun to drive. Soo-yun followed closely into the car in front, and the car once again drove to an even more remote area in the western suburbs. In the western suburbs of Xinjiang, there was an old reservoir that was almost covered by weeds. Originally, it could be developed into a good leisure resort, but for some reason, no one took care of it. This place was very strange. In a few years, there were dozens of people who came to this place to commit suicide. Perhaps it was because of this reason that people didn't dare to come to this place for fun. They felt that the yin energy here was too strong. Later, there were rumors that this place was very strange. Once you arrived, there would be people who would induce you to commit suicide. They would induce you to consider things in the direction of suicide. Although these were all rumors, it would naturally make people feel that it was strange. Not to mention coming here in the middle of the night, even if it was daytime, it would probably make people feel lingering fear. The man sitting in Soo-yun's car seemed to be very dissatisfied with his companion's choice of place. He scolded a few times. Soo-yun could hear that this guy was very afraid of this place. Finally, the car stopped. The man immediately pressed the dagger against the back of Soo-yun's head, forcing him to open the door and get out. Soo-yun also opened the door and got out of the car very cooperatively. Such a sparsely populated place was indeed a good choice for him. Are you crazy? Why did you choose such a damn place? Didn't you hear that another person just died in this place a few days ago? The man with the dagger was obviously quite dissatisfied with his companion who drove and led the way. So when his companion got out of the car and appeared in front of them, he couldn't help but complain. It's good because it's a damn place. The man said, Can't you just make it look like he committed suicide? The police won't be able to investigate the situation. Yo, they're going to kill him. Soo-yun was startled after hearing this. It's quite ruthless. Why? Did I say something I shouldn't have when I was in the sauna center? No, he had always been very careful and attentive. You too, it's not that bad, right? Soo-yun. Didn't your boss say that he would let me go? I didn't make any malicious requests. I have already paid the money that I should pay. Why are you doing this to me? The man with the dagger snorted. You can only blame yourself for being unlucky. The technician who served you said that you saw her when she opened the secret mechanism. Brother, you really can't blame us. If you didn't see the mechanism, you would be fine. But since you saw it, then we can only apologize. Just because I saw it, I will die? Su Yun said in surprise. Your boss is really ruthless. There's no other way. Safety first. The other man said. In any case, you already know the cause of this matter. Even if you die, you can die clearly and understand the reason. Go in peace. Don't resist. You can also make yourself feel more comfortable. As he spoke, the man had already taken out a thick hemp rope about 2 meters long. Looking at his hand movements, he was ready to strangle Su Yun to death. 2 big brothers killing people is not a joke. Aren't you afraid that the police will find you? Su Yun pretended to be nervous. If the police are so smart, we brothers would have already gone in. We wouldn't be here waiting on you in the middle of the night. The man with the dagger said. Anyway, you are a person who is going to die. I won't hide it from you. We have a murder case on us. It doesn't matter if you have one more. Su Yun took a cold breath. These guys are really sinful. When he got out of the car just now, he had already turned on the recording function of his mobile phone. Some evidence simply collected was better than nothing. You killed people because your boss asked you to do it. Su Yun said nervously. Well, you do it for money. I give you money, and you let me go. How about it? You won't lose out at all in this deal. The man sneered. Don't give me that. We won't joke with our lives for money. If the second boss knows that we let you go today, then the 2 of us will be dead. Who is your second boss? He is so ruthless. Su Yun pretended to be at a loss. Okay, you are going to die anyway. I will tell you. The man said. Have you heard of the Jutsai group? Our big boss is the famous Yi Wenyang. The second boss you saw today is Yi Wenguang. Do you know what kind of people they are in Xinjiang? In Xinjiang, they could kill anyone they wanted to kill. And they could also kill anyone they wanted to live. With such great ability, even the government of Xinjiang is no match for our Jutsai group. Su Yun had a look of surprise on his face. Then you guys are too amazing. You don't even put anyone in your eyes. That is necessary. So if our second boss wants you to die, you must die. The man with the hemp rope suddenly launched an attack, and directly wrapped the rope around Su Yun's neck. He wanted to strangle Su Yun to death. Unfortunately, Su Yun was already prepared. When the other party attacked, he quickly used his right hand to block the hemp rope that was going to strangle his neck. When the other party exerted force, he also exerted force. Grabbing the hemp rope, he suddenly exerted force and bent his body. The guy who attacked Su Yun from behind was ruthlessly thrown to the ground. This throw was at least 2 meters in the air, and he fell heavily on the ground that was full of big and small stones. It definitely made him want to die. Sorry, I used a bit too much force. Su Yun smiled slightly. Seeing that his companion was attacked, the man with the dagger didn't even think and directly stabbed at Su Yun's back. Judging from the ruthlessness of these 2 people, Su Yun concluded that these 2 people must have killed someone. It was impossible for a person who killed someone for the first time to make such a decisive judgment. After all, it was a matter of life and death. It was impossible to say that one wouldn't hesitate. Only those who had committed heinous acts such as murder and arson would act decisively at this time because they were already familiar with it. Chapter 1945. How fast Su Yun's movements were. It was not something that could be seen clearly by the other party. With a flip of his body and a kick, the man's knife missed its target, and at the same time, Su Yun's heel ruthlessly smashed into his cheekbone. In fact, the bones on a person's face were quite fragile. They would often suffer serious damage from a heavy blow. The feeling of having one's cheekbone broken was particularly terrifying. It was as if the whole face was about to collapse. It was definitely very, very terrifying. The dagger villain, who was still fierce just now, was screaming at the moment. He had already thrown away his dagger. He didn't know if he should hold his face and roll on the ground. The guy who almost broke his waist got up again. Although he hadn't thrown away the hemp rope in his hands were faintly numb from the fall just now. He couldn't exert any strength. At this moment he was a little worried. He didn't expect the other party to be so skilled. That was why the two of them were in such a difficult situation. Don't force me. If you force me into a dead end, I can do anything. Su-yin smiled. Now all the pressure was on the other party. They couldn't figure out what kind of trick Su-yin was playing. Why was his skill so good? To be honest, they really didn't think that it was their carelessness that led to the current situation. In fact, this result didn't need to be surprising at all. There was no suspense at all, let alone the two of them coming to deal with Su-yin. Even if Zhao Honglong and Aku, who were full of confidence, came, they might not be able to deal with Su-yin. This had nothing to do with attitude and caution. It was just a stark difference in strength. This difference in strength couldn't be changed no matter what method was used. Therefore, they didn't need to blame themselves at all. They just needed to know that they had provoked the wrong person. You'd better not resist. Even if you can escape today, our boss will arrange for someone to catch you tomorrow. The man was afraid because he felt a trace of murderous intent from the other party. Su-yin was really not a kind person. These two people dared to sneak attack him like this. He really wanted to end their lives on the spot. After all, for Su-yin, the death of such a person with a murder case was not enough to be regretted. Su-yin didn't care about human rights like the Europeans and Americans. He didn't even care about the death penalty, no matter what kind of heinous crime was committed. In Su-yin's eyes, those who committed those inhumane crimes didn't deserve to be respected by human rights. They deserved to die. It wasn't a pity at all. But now Su-yin really wouldn't kill them. First of all, he didn't have the desire to kill. He wasn't the kind of person who would kill. Secondly, he needed these witnesses who could prove that the Jutsai group had committed a crime. And these two were definitely very good candidates. Of course, all of this couldn't disturb the police yet. Su-yin could only solve it himself, so he had to use some illegal means in private. Although it was against the law to imprison and restrict other people's freedom, Su-yin could only do this. There was a good saying, rules are dead but people are alive. In order to get the final result, Su-yin didn't care about these small details. He was also a person who didn't care about trifles. So what if it was against the rules? Anyway, the two people he was dealing with weren't good people. After 3 minutes, Su-yin had already tied the two people up with the hemp rope in the man's hand. Now there was only one place left. In Xinjiang, he could only ask Yi Fala for help. After Yi Fala understood the situation, he really admired Su-yin from the bottom of his heart. Wen Xiao hadn't done anything yet, but he had already captured 2 people. Now these people couldn't be handed over to the police. This was really troublesome. But since Su-yin had asked, Yi Fala would definitely help with all her strength. Soon, she thought of a suitable place. I have a friend who is a loan shark. He will catch some people who can't pay back the money they borrowed and bring them to a courtyard in his hometown in the countryside. There are many dogs and many dog cages there. He will put the people who can't pay back the money into the dog cages and arrange for people to raise them like dogs. They are really fed like dogs. They will eat whatever the dogs eat. That's disgusting. Su-yin smiled. What if the dogs eat poop? Do they eat poop too? Don't interrupt. Yi Fala said. He won't let these people starve to death. He will only let them go when the families of these people have gathered the money and paid it back to him. Su-yin nodded. It was really a good choice. They wouldn't starve to death. It was safe and reliable, and the cost was low. It was just eating dog food. It was really too frugal. Then, is it convenient for your friend to accept these 2 people? Yi Fala said with certainty. Of course it's convenient. He has dozens of dog cages. I believe he won't use so many. It should be easy to leave them for the 2 of us. Then you contact him. I will go now, Su-yin said. Yi Fala nodded. I will send you the address after I contact him. You can bring them there directly. I will wait for you there. Okay. Su-yin hung up the phone and threw the 2 people who were tied up into his car trunk. You two better behave yourselves. I will bring you to a place with food and drinks. I guarantee you will have a good time. The two people looked at Su Yun in horror. However, because their mouths were stuffed with stones and sealed with tape by Su Yun, they couldn't speak at all. They could only shake their heads. Su Yun closed the trunk with a bang. The whole world became much quieter. Before Yi Fala sent the address, Su Yun didn't stay idle. He drove the other party's car to the side of a slope in the abandoned reservoir. He stepped on the accelerator and quickly opened the door and jumped out of the car. The car directly plunged into the reservoir. No one would swim in this godforsaken place. The car would sink forever. In order to prevent his whereabouts from being exposed, Su Yun violated the rules and removed his license plate. In case the people of the Jutsai group had the ability to trace his license plate number, then he could avoid a lot of trouble. After everything was settled, Su Yun also received the address sent by Yi Fala. She said that everything was settled. She just said that there were two people who didn't return the money and asked him to help take care of them for a while. The other party readily agreed. He also said that his place was very idle now. There were only 3 people locked up. Now that 2 more people came, it would definitely be lively. He couldn't ask for more. With the other party's words, Yi Fala was relieved to let Su Yun go. She also drove to the destination as quickly as possible. She arrived before Su Yun and quickly settled the matter. She also chose the dog cage for the 2 people. After Su Yun arrived, the 2 people immediately checked in. Everything happened too suddenly. The 2 people didn't know what happened. However, since they were here, it was not up to them. After Su Yun and Yi Fala expressed their gratitude many times, they didn't waste too much time and quickly left the place. For safety reasons, Su Yun also drove his car to a pay parking lot. He would just leave it there. It wouldn't be too late for him to drive when the matter was settled. After all, this car appeared at the entrance of Tiangong No. 1. And their people were also lost contact because of Su Yun. Fortunately, Yi Fala gave Su Yun enough support. After returning to the hotel, she gave her car key to Su Yun and let him use the car. She knew that Su Yun would definitely have to travel a lot in and out every day. As for Wen Xiao, after he left Tiangong No. 1 and confirmed that he wasn't being followed, he returned to the Xinkai Hotel. When he arrived at the hotel, he went directly to his room to rest. He would once again enter the 2-day dormant period. This time was to give the police more momentum, and also give Yi Wenguang time to talk about him with the real leader of the Jutsai group. All of this needed to be controlled by himself. Every stage of the fire had to be very accurate. Only then could the final result reach his satisfaction. Chapter 1946. After Yi Wenguang left the Heavenly Palace No. 1 sauna center, he immediately contacted his elder brother. Yi Wenyang was still very worried about the incident at the sauna center today. Otherwise, Yi Wenyang would not have arranged for Yi Wenguang to handle it personally. Elder brother, the matter has been resolved. You definitely wouldn't have thought that the person causing trouble there was actually the most popular S-level wanted criminal in Xinjiang. When Yi Wenguang said this, he could not help but sound surprised and excited. I'll go to you right now. I have an idea that I need to tell you right away. Yi Wenyang was not affected by his brother's words at all. Just now, he and Yi Wenguang had come to discuss a business deal. After Yi Wenguang left, he solved some other problems in the business cooperation by himself. Now that the business partner had left, he was left alone in the tea house where he had just discussed the matter. Yi Wenyang especially liked drinking tea. Even if drinking tea always made him lose sleep at night, he still could not go without tea leaves every day. I haven't left yet. Come and find me. Yi Wenyang said faintly and directly hung up the phone. Yi Wenguang naturally did not dare to disobey his elder brother's orders. He immediately asked Aku to drive directly to the tea house. Regarding Wen Xiao, he really needed to meet him in person to be able to explain more clearly. No matter what, he felt that they had to get this talent. Yi Wenyang tasted the tea and quietly waited for his second brother's arrival. Yi Wenguang knew very well that his elder brother hated waiting for people the most, so he asked Aku to drive very fast. After arriving at the tea house, Yi Wenguang immediately went to the room they had booked for a long time. Elder brother, I'm here. Sorry to keep you waiting. After Yi Wenguang pushed the door and entered, He saw that his elder brother was not in a good mood. He stepped forward and filled his empty teacup with tea. How's the business discussion? It's okay. Yi Wenyang nodded. You came quite quickly. Yi Wenguang nodded and poured a cup of tea for himself. Then he went straight to the point. Elder brother, it's really Wen Xiao, the national S-level wanted criminal Wen Xiao. The one causing trouble at Heavenly Palace number 1 today was actually him. I really didn't expect it. Yi Wenyang looked up at his second brother. He was still very calm. The police just confirmed that he was a wanted criminal in Xinjiang City. And you met him today? Take him down and give him to the police as a gift. Big brother, are you joking? Yi Wenguang was startled. This is a talent. If we use him, then it will be a huge fortune for our Jutsai group. For our use? Haha. You should know a little about Wen Zhao's situation. Yi Wenyang smiled slightly. Yi Wenguang nodded. Of course I know. I even checked his information carefully on the way here. This guy is definitely a genius. He's even more powerful than I imagined. He once established a mercenary group in Southeast Asia. People call him One Eye. He's definitely a ruthless character. Yi Wenyang nodded and gestured for second brother to continue. I'm sure that such a talent is very important to us. The help he can give us is too much. We need someone like him who has absolute experience in dealing with emergencies. He is really different from the others. Yi Wenguang said urgently, Brother, think about it. He has the ability to escape from Beijing. How many people in our Jutsai group can do that? I'm afraid there aren't any. Yi Wenyang didn't deny it. I don't think there are people with this ability in our Jutsai group. It's hard to find someone with this ability in the whole of Huaxia. See, big brother, if you think so too, then we must find a way to get him under our Jutsai group. That way, our strength will be even stronger. Yi Wenguang seemed to have seen a more brilliant future for them. Second brother, you've always been very cautious. Then have you ever thought of a question? Why would Wen Xiao dare to cause trouble in our sauna center when he's in such a dangerous situation? He didn't take this matter seriously at all? Yi Wenguang was stunned. No matter how powerful he is, if it were anyone else in this situation, I'm afraid they would be the first to be cautious. Yi Wenyang said. Have you ever suspected that Wen Xiao did this on purpose to let us discover him? Discover him? Yi Wenguang suddenly realized. Big brother, you're really thoughtful. If that's the case, then he's interested in our Jutsai group? He wants to join us? Why does he know what our Jutsai group does? Why does he want to join us? That's right. Yi Wenguang didn't understand now. It was impossible for Wen Xiao to know what their group did. Those illegal things were very confidential, so Wen Xiao wouldn't know that they were a super criminal gang. Then Wen Xiao had no reason to join them. Then why did he want them to notice him? I'm worried. This Wen Xiao knows about our situation. Yi Wenyang expressed his doubts. If he knows about our nature, so he wants to attract our attention and join us, then it means that someone told him about us behind the scenes. Who do you think is behind him, or what kind of organization? Yi Wenguang couldn't understand. Big brother, we don't have any business dealings with Southeast Asia. We have never touched the business of illegal goods. So, I think Wen Xiao can only know about our true nature from an individual or unit who wants to catch us and find evidence of us. Yi Wenyang said lightly. Yi Wenguang was shocked. Big brother, it can't be? You mean, Wen Xiao intentionally contacted us to let us notice him, and then he joined us to collect evidence of our crimes? Yi Wenyang nodded. Impossible, big brother. This is absolutely impossible. He's a wanted criminal. He can't have contact with the police. Yi Wenguang shook his head vigorously. A person who stole state secrets could escape from Yanjing. You and I are very surprised. There are many people who are as surprised as us. Yi Wenyang said. Why? Because no one believes that a person who stole state secrets could escape from Yanjing. That's why everyone is surprised and feels that it's inconceivable, isn't it? Yi Wenguang's eyes widened. Is all of this fake? It's all fake. Of course I'm not sure. But I still have my suspicions about this. Yi Wenyang calmed down. I don't deny that this Wen Xiao is definitely not an ordinary person. He is definitely very strong. If he is really a person who can steal state secrets and escape from Yanjing, then he is definitely a talent that we can only meet by chance. But if he isn't, then he is definitely a super spy. Yuan Guang took a deep breath. Isn't this a bit too exaggerated? Super spy? Spy among spies? Second brother, I've always been at ease with you, because you know very well that we have to be cautious and careful in our line of work. You've always done very well, Yuan Yang said, but I think you're a bit too hasty in this matter, because you want to get such a talent too much. You're doing it for the good of Ju Kai Group. That's why you might not consider it fully. Big brother, I understand, Yuan Guang said. I'll consider it carefully, but so far, I feel that Wen Xiao has no intention of approaching us, because I've already made things very clear today. I said that I want to be friends with him, but he didn't even take my business card. Yuan Yang nodded. This is indeed a good sign. However, I think we still need time to prove it. Let's first see what the police are doing. If the police are only pretending to catch him, then it means that there is a big problem. If the police are investigating him strictly, then we can indeed consider it. Yuan Guang's admiration for his big brother was like the endless waves of the river. Big brother, I'll definitely contact the police in the next few days. If this Wen Xiao has the slightest possibility of being a spy, when I see him again, I'll definitely let him know that if he wants to provoke us, he will definitely pay a price that he can't imagine. It's getting late. Let's go back. What belongs to us can't run away. What doesn't belong to us can't be forced. Yuan Yang smiled slightly. Like you, I hope that all of this is beneficial to us. Chapter 1947. It was already late at night. After Su Yin returned to the hotel, he thought for a long time. In the end, he decided to report today's matter to his superiors. He knew very well that Wen Xiao wouldn't contact his superiors before he could confirm anything. He wouldn't complain about his difficulties, and he wouldn't ask for support or cooperation. Su Yin had met the second boss of the Jutsai group, Yuan Guang. He could feel that this person was very shrewd and cautious. He was only the second in command, yet he already had such a brain. How shrewd would the big boss of the Jutsai group, Yuan Yang, be? Su Yin didn't even dare to think about it. This kind of person was definitely very difficult to deceive and deal with. Wen Zhao's situation wasn't ideal. This was the answer that Su Yin came to after analyzing for a long time. Their contact was indeed too fast. Wen Xiao was a person who knew his current situation. If he still dared to cause trouble in public, he might be suspected by others. Moreover, the police didn't search for Wen Xiao too intensely. As an ordinary person, they didn't feel the tension and threat that the police gave them. They didn't feel the strong sense of crisis that Wen Zhao's appearance in Xinjiang City brought to Xinjiang City. These were the conditions that influenced the core members of the Jutsai group to trust and suspect Wen Xiao. Wen Zhao's situation would only be more favorable if these external conditions were sufficiently coordinated. After thinking about it, Su Yin directly contacted Wan Guangxiao. After all, only a few people in the Dragon Brigade knew that he was involved in this matter. The fewer people who knew, the higher the success rate of this matter. Wan Guangxiao was also very clear about this point. Wan Guangxiao was really helpless when he received a call from Su Yin in the middle of the night. Do you think that an old man like me shouldn't rest so well after living for too long? You're stirring me up in the middle of the night. What are you thinking? Chief, I definitely have good intentions. There's a situation that needs to be reported to you. I'm asking for your instructions. Su Yin chuckled embarrassedly. It was indeed a little late, but he really couldn't make himself wait all night without explaining the situation. You are so cunning. If I believe you, then I would be too stupid, Wan Guangxiao said. If you have anything to report, then say it quickly. I still want to sleep. Su Yin went straight to the point and told Wan Guangxiao everything that happened today. Wan Guangxiao frowned as he listened. To be honest, Wen Zhao's method was indeed a bit too radical. He was also a bit too impatient. However, he could also understand Wen Zhao's eagerness to perform meritorious deeds. Chief, that's how it is. I think I need to ask you what we should do next to assist Wen Xiao, Su Yin said. Wan Guangxiao laughed dryly. Kid, do you think I don't know you well enough? If you don't have any ideas, you won't call me for instructions. Just say it directly. Tell me what you think. Su Yin smiled embarrassedly. Chief knows me well. Chief is wise. Stop flattering me. Say it. Wan Guangxiao wasn't sleepy at all now. In fact, with his experience, he could understand how to deal with this kind of thing. However, he had to admit that people at his age definitely couldn't think faster than Su Yun. I think we should increase the Shenzhen police's efforts to arrest Wen Xiao. Su Yun. This kind of publicity can make the people of the Jutsai group realize the danger of Wen Xiao, because it's impossible for the people of the Jutsai group to not be suspicious of Wen Xiao's appearance. Once the police increase their efforts to arrest him, the mole that the Jutsai group bought in the police will tell them about it. This can unconsciously increase their trust in Wen Xiao. Wan Guangxiao nodded. Indeed, as Su Yun said, letting Wen Xiao do something to increase the trust of the core people of the Jutsai group was far less effective than this kind of unconsciously increasing trust. This kind of trust was generated without any contact with Wen Xiao. In other words, the people of the Jutsai group trusted themselves. This kind of trust was far greater than the kind of trust that Wen Xiao brought to them, and it made it easier for them to reduce their suspicion of Wen Xiao. Chief, this is the best way I can think of now. Su Yin. I think you must have a better way. You're really getting better at flattering. Wan Guangxiao said. I didn't even think of the way you said. What good way can I have? After a pause, Wan Guangxiao continued. To be honest, your method is absolutely feasible. I will hold an emergency meeting now and talk to the person in charge of this operation about the current situation. Tomorrow, we will order the Xinjiang police to increase their efforts to arrest Wen Xiao. This will make the entire Xinjiang nervous enough. As long as the situation in Xinjiang is nervous, the Jutsai group will also be nervous. Su Yun. I believe that if they really want to get a talent that they can value, they will definitely rush to give Wen Xiao enough help before the police really arrest him. That's right. Wan Guangxiao said. Su Yun, fortunately, you took the initiative to participate in this operation. If it weren't for you, our progress really wouldn't be so fast, and we really wouldn't have realized that there are so many things that are worth paying attention to. Su Yun smiled and said, Thank you for the praise, Chief. I'm not praising you. I'm encouraging you. I'm telling you that without you, it would be very difficult for us to succeed. Wan Guangxiao said. So you know what you should do, right? Chief, don't worry. I know my own position. I will do my best to cooperate with this operation. Su Yin. I will also do my best to ensure Wen Xiao's safety. Wan Guangxiao shook his head and said, That's not what I mean. What I mean is that you must also pay attention to your own safety. You must be very careful. You must think twice before you do anything. This is my request to you and also my order to you. Do you understand? Yes, I promise to complete the mission. Su Yun and Wan Guangxiao's concern made Su Yun feel warm all over. One must know that the zombie chief's impression in their hearts was that he was a heartless and cold-blooded person. Su Yun really didn't expect the chief to have such a time. Have a good rest. Wan Guangxiao said. There are some things that Wen Xiao can't communicate in time, so you really need to communicate with me in time. Remember, no matter how late it is, as long as it's important, you must inform me immediately. Su Yun smiled and said, As long as the chief doesn't scold me for disturbing your rest, I can definitely do it. Stop being so cheeky. Go and rest. This is an order. Wan Guangxiao directly hung up the phone after he finished speaking. He didn't go home yesterday and stayed in the army today. Perhaps it was intuition, or perhaps it was experience, but he knew that there must be urgent matters to deal with in these 2 days. If he went home to rest, he would disturb the madam. Su Yin directly went to rest after he hung up the phone. Maintaining his energy was really a task for Su Yin. Wan Guangxiao got up and put on his clothes. He quickly dialed a phone number and told the other party that there was a very important matter. He called for an emergency meeting and told everyone in the Wen Xiao Undercover Jutsai Group Special Task Force to gather immediately. Wan Guangxiao suddenly felt a long-lost passion. He hadn't experienced this feeling for a long time. It was really the feeling of being young. To be honest, The feeling of being young was really good, really good. If the heavens could grant Wan Guangxiao one wish, Wan Guangxiao would definitely want to return to being young again. Time spared no man. White hair had already grown out from his temples. He didn't know how long he could hold on. The older he got, the less capable he was. Although he was an expert in the profound world realm, and had more energy than many young people and a healthier body, his heart could never be young again. Where did the time go? Wan Guangxiao asked himself. He felt that the answer to this was very simple, but he couldn't answer it. Because almost all of his time was dedicated to the country, to the Dragon Brigade. After so many years, day after day, year after year, it had long become a habit that could never be removed from his body. He knew that there would be a day when he would have to leave his post. He really didn't know how he would face that day. When the time came, he was afraid that he would be like all the people who had to leave the Dragon Brigade because of special circumstances. He really couldn't bear it, couldn't bear it. Chapter 1948. Wen Zhao's matter had already made Qin Wan unable to rest well for 2 nights. Today, when she just arrived at the station, she received a notice from the secretary of the city leader. An emergency meeting about Wen Zhao's case was immediately held. This emergency meeting could be said to have shocked the entire Xinjiang. All the leaders of the public security departments were present. Due to some special reasons of the police leadership, the meeting that should have been attended by the bureau chief was replaced by the 3 deputy bureau chiefs. The Armed Police Detachment, the Special Police Detachment, the National Security Bureau, and the people in charge of the Xinjiang area all participated in this meeting. The importance of this matter to the city leader was far beyond everyone's imagination. He even directly issued a clear order that Wen Xiao must be caught in Xinjiang. And this matter had to be solved in the shortest time possible. Due to Wen Zhao's special identity and special strength, the time given by the city leader was really sufficient. Wen Xiao must be caught within 10 days. If they couldn't catch him or let Wen Xiao escape, everyone present would have to take off their police uniform. When this hard target was issued, everyone present was shocked. This was really the most difficult challenge they had encountered in their lives, right? 10 days, 10 days. It sounded like a lot. But in the face of the current situation where there were no clues, their heads were about to explode. The city leader's words had already been issued, and no one dared to say anything. Although the city leader now allowed them to speak about their difficulties and the support they felt that they needed, the entire conference room was still silent. No one thought that the first person to speak would be Zhang Guoping. Perhaps he was the only person who had reached the end of his career and wasn't afraid of taking off his police uniform. Leader, this matter is indeed difficult. Zhang Guoping said. I'm not saying that we don't have the confidence to catch him within 10 days, but for such a serious criminal to be able to escape under the eyes of so many police forces in Yanjing, it really isn't something that we can definitely catch with a specific time. With Zhang Guoping's words, it also spurred others to speak. Some people said that Wen Xiao had entered Xinjiang without leaving any traces. They couldn't even be sure if Wen Xiao was really in Xinjiang. This condition was too harsh. However, the city leader's reply was very direct. Wen Zhao's arrival in Xinjiang was confirmed by the higher-ups, so they definitely could not doubt the accuracy of this news. If they couldn't even believe that Wen Xiao was in Xinjiang, how could they catch him? If he didn't even believe in himself, how could he catch him? Deputy Director Qin, tell me what you think. Ever since you arrived in Xinjiang, you've been cracking major cases. It's said that you've cracked major cases when you were still a police officer in Hudong. Zheng Yun suddenly said. I feel that at times like this, you have more experience than any of us. This matter really requires you to be serious in order to solve it. Zheng Yun spoke very seriously and seriously. In the entire meeting room, only Zhang Guoping, who knew that the two of them were not on good terms, understood that Zheng Yun's current actions were to make things difficult for Qin Wan, and put her in a difficult position. Qin Weiner's mind was in a mess. Su Yun's words had been hovering in her mind. In the entire Xinjiang, she was the only one who knew that Wen Xiao was a spy. Everyone was 100% sure that Wen Xiao was a super dangerous wanted criminal. What kind of concept was this? Qin Weiner was the only one who knew the truth. She couldn't solve this case and catch Wen Xiao. However, she still had to act like she was actively trying to catch Wen Xiao. If Wen Xiao encountered a serious crisis brought by the police, she had to rescue Wen Xiao without anyone knowing. Oh God! The thing that Su Yan asked her to do was really too difficult. Qin Weiner had never thought that she would encounter such a thorny problem in her life. During the entire meeting, she was muddle-headed. Her mind was constantly thinking about her own matter. She didn't even listen to the city leader's 10-day deadline to solve the case. Zheng Yun's sudden words made Qin Wan even more confused. Zheng Yun, oh Zheng Yun, this guy was really annoying. Qin Weiner wanted to drag him out of the meeting room and give him a good beating. Of course, Qin Weiner could only think about it. It was impossible for her to put it into practice. Qin Weiner didn't know where to start. However, the city leader seemed to be very interested in Zheng Yun's proposal. Indeed, Qin Weiner was a very outstanding young policewoman in Xinjiang City. She was also a young person who had made great achievements in the Xinjiang City's police force. The city leader's expectations of Qin Weiner were definitely higher than anyone else's. Otherwise, Qin Weiner wouldn't have been promoted to the position of deputy director at such a young age. All the leaders were quietly waiting for Qin Weiner to come up with an arrest plan. They were all confident in Qin Weiner. They thought that Qin Weiner must have a way to solve the trouble that Wen Xiao had brought to Xinjiang. Just say it boldly. We all support you. No matter what you need, you can just say it directly. We will do our best to cooperate with you. It wasn't difficult to hear from the city leader's words that they were indeed full of expectations for Qin Weiner. Zheng Yun was also looking forward to it. He just wanted to see how capable Qin Weiner was. If she could really deal with these city leaders on this matter, then Zheng Yun would have nothing to say. He admitted that he couldn't compare with Qin Weiner at all. If Qin Weiner couldn't come up with a convincing answer, then don't blame him for playing tricks this time. Qin Weiner had been in the limelight so many times. Now she wanted to keep a low profile? That was impossible. If Qin Weiner didn't know that Wen Xiao was a spy, she wouldn't have made it difficult for this matter. She must have already thought of a plan to arrest Wen Xiao, because it was her job and her obligation. But now Qin Weiner wasn't prepared for anything. She didn't want the police to really have a face-to-face confrontation with Wen Xiao. In that case, she didn't know what else she could do to help Wen Xiao. I'm sorry. I really can't think of a good way to deal with this matter. Qin Weiner could only say such words that disappointed the city leaders. I hope that the city leaders can give us enough time. We will definitely think of a way. We will definitely be able to find traces of Wen Xiao. Zheng Yun suddenly said. Deputy Bureau Chief Qin, what you mean is, the 10 days that the city leaders gave are not enough? This isn't your style. 10 days. Qin Weiner was stunned. It turned out that the city leaders had given them a time limit to solve the case. She didn't even hear it in her mind. Obviously, Qin Weiner's performance disappointed the city leaders. The city leaders expressionlessly asked Qin Weiner to sit down and think about what she had come to the meeting for. Zhang Guoping also heard the anger in the city leader's tone. He didn't expect Qin Weiner to be so absent-minded about this case. This was indeed not her style of doing things. This obviously made Zheng Yun very happy. Zheng Yun also took the opportunity to stand up. It was time to show off himself. Please rest assured, leaders. We will not leave any leeway. Yesterday, I started a large-scale investigation of all the hotels in Xinjiang. I believe that as long as we are willing to do things, we will definitely get the results we want. After the city leaders heard Zheng Yun's solemn speech, their mood recovered a little. They praised Zheng Yun and said that Xinjiang needed such passionate and responsible police officers. If they didn't even have a basic sense of responsibility, they didn't deserve to be the people's police. These words were more or less for Qin Weiner to hear. Although Qin Weiner felt uncomfortable, she could only silently endure all of this. She wouldn't make any rebuttal. She realized that she had to change. It was absolutely impossible for her to continue like this. Please rest assured, leaders. Everyone in our police station will bring out 100% confidence to solve Wen Zhao's problem. Zhang Guoping opened his mouth again. I believe that Deputy Bureau Chief Qin also attaches enough importance to this matter. Because of this matter, she hasn't rested well for 2 days and 2 nights. That's why she's a little absent-minded today. I hope the city leaders can understand. Hearing Zhang Guoping speak up for her, Qin Weiner was really touched. Although Zheng Yin was unhappy, Zhang Guoping was a good person. He didn't have any intention to target Zheng Yin, so Zheng Yin couldn't say anything. Hearing Zhang Guoping's words, the city leaders had the intention to forgive Qin Weiner for being absent-minded just now. They also expressed their concern and sympathy. They told Qin Weiner to ensure that she had enough rest while working. If she couldn't even guarantee her physical condition, not only would it not improve her work efficiency, it would also bring negative effects. Qin Weiner also took this opportunity to express her firm attitude. She also promised that she wouldn't disappoint the city leaders and would definitely bring Wen Xiao to justice. Chapter 1949. Wen Xiao didn't know about all this. Luckily, he didn't intend to go out and cause trouble, so he stayed in the hotel for the whole day. Sometimes patience is the best way to attack. Wen Xiao knew what he needed to do now. Hiding better would be the standard for Jutsai Group to be interested in him. Actually, Wen Xiao wasn't too satisfied with the police's arrest. There wasn't much of a commotion, which was why even though the entire Xinjiang knew of his arrival, they didn't feel any special tension. This was definitely disadvantageous to Wen Xiao. Jutsai Group didn't need to admire and obtain a person with no influence. In this short period of time, the whole of Xinjiang was in turmoil. Everything seemed to have changed. The special police helicopter hovered in the sky for almost the whole day. The armed police force was mobilized and blocked all the roads in and out of Xinjiang. The police began a more thorough search. With this series of developments, the whole of Xinjiang started to have an atmosphere. This different atmosphere could definitely make everyone in Xinjiang fall into a state of shock. That's right, everyone, ordinary people, started to realize how dangerous and important this S-level wanted criminal was. More than 90% of the people of Xinjiang had never seen the police attack in such a large formation. Even Xinjiang port had undergone a full security lockdown. This kind of mission involving the sea, land, and air completely stimulated people's nerves. Xinjiang was in danger now. Very, very dangerous. This was the answer all the people of Xinjiang gave after a day of the police mission. Xinjiang, which used to have a lively nightlife, actually had such a strange and quiet situation. The Bund, which was full of people every day, had far less than 1/5 of the usual traffic. This was not only reflected on the various streets, but also in the shopping malls, restaurants, bars. Almost every industry was affected by this incident. The director of Xinjiang's Tourism Bureau was furious. This damned Wen Xiao jumped to Xinjiang, and his entire tourism industry was severely affected. The whole country was reporting on Xinjiang's vigorous arrest of Wen Xiao. This news frequently made the headlines. Even a fool wouldn't choose to come to Xinjiang to play at this time. Think about it. You're taking a romantic walk with a girl on the Bund, and you're surrounded by SWAT officers with guns. You're being interrogated and searched. It didn't matter if it was inexplicable, but it would definitely affect the girl's mood. If she was in such a mood, even if she agreed to get a room with him at night, she definitely wouldn't be in the mood to do anything with him. Even if you succeeded in having sex, when you were in the mood just now, the criminal police would knock on the door of the guest room and interrogate you. You would probably be asked to show your marriage certificate. What should he do? Did he have to tell the police that they were stupid? If they had a marriage certificate, who would come all the way to Xinjiang to have sex? Those were all jokes. All in all, the entire Xinjiang was severely affected. The commotion was finally big enough, and the Jutsai Group began to realize the crisis they were in. Obviously, the Jutsai Group, which made a living near the port, didn't dare to make any moves. The armed police were guarding here 24 hours a day. Anything that went in and out had to be checked. They were afraid that Wen Xiao would use the loopholes here to escape. This was really ridiculous. Originally, the people of the Jutsai Group planned to use the opportunity, when everyone's attention was on Wen Xiao, to import and export a few more batches of goods. Now because of this incident, they were also affected. It was really not worth the loss. For this reason, the 3 core brothers of the Jutsai group immediately called for an emergency meeting. The third brother, Iwanxing, was having a headache about the port now. He couldn't wait to take a gun and shoot all these people, not giving them any chance to import and export goods. Second brother, I think you should have taken down Wen Xiao at that time and directly threw him to the police. Maybe the police would be happy and wouldn't care about anything. Iwanxing said unhappily. Now we can't do anything. This is only temporary. Guang still didn't feel that his decision was inappropriate. If we use a temporary loss to exchange for such a person's loyalty, it is worth it. If this guy is not caught by the police will keep watching like this. Iwanxing said bluntly. Then we will keep waiting like this? Do nothing? Guang stared at Iwanxing impatiently. Third brother. What do you mean? I don't mean anything. Iwanxing shook his head and said, Second brother, don't think that I am targeting you. I am just saying my thoughts. I know that you and big brother's brain are better than mine. But you know what kind of temper I have. I'm really going crazy right now. You have to endure it. It has only been a day. Guang said. The police can't keep watching like this. If they keep watching like this, they won't last long. After the two argued, they suddenly felt that the atmosphere wasn't right. The two immediately shut up. The eldest brother, Yuanyang, didn't speak. He listened to the two arguing without saying a word. Soon, the two brothers realized that something was wrong with their big brother. Then they also shut their mouths at the same time. When Yuanyang saw this, he glanced at the two separately. Say it. Why don't you continue? You said it quite well. You can express your opinions. It's okay. Big brother, I am afraid that you really need to make a decision on this matter. I really don't know what I should do. There are always people who don't agree with me. I can't do anything about it. Guang was a little unhappy. The Jutsai group was built to its current glory by the 3 brothers. Among the 3 brothers, there was no problem with his respect for the eldest brother. There was also no problem with third brother's respect for the eldest brother. The reason was very simple. Without the eldest brother's decisive and correct decision, they couldn't have come to this point. However, there was one thing that made Guang particularly unhappy. Third brother had never respected him. One had to know that he had always made many correct decisions for the group. He had also made greater contributions to the group than third brother. He was also an elder brother, but third brother didn't take him seriously at all. This really made him very unhappy. Second brother, if you have something to say, just say it. There are only 3 of us today. There's no need to beat around the bush. Yuanqing naturally had to refute. Yuanyang had long been used to the two's arguments, so he didn't take it seriously. Okay, stop it. I know better than you what to do. The two of them quieted down and looked at Yuanyang seriously, waiting for his decision. I received accurate news today. The city leader is really angry. He asked the police to arrest him within 10 days. Yuanyang smiled slightly. I really want to see what the police can do in 10 days. Capturing an S-class fugitive in 10 days? Just by relying on the police? This is simply impossible. Guang shook his head and said, Arrest Wen Xiao in 10 days? Simply impossible. Second brother, this Wen Xiao is so powerful? You trust him so much? Yuanxing said. I didn't see you so excited when you accepted Aku back then. Guang looked at third brother seriously. I'm really not joking. This Wen Xiao is not the same type as Aku and the rest. Although Aku and the rest are loyal and have sufficient strength, you have seen their adaptability. They don't have that. They can only listen to our clear orders. Second brother, I understand what you mean. Yuanyang said lightly. I know that you are interested in Wen Xiao's creativity. If he didn't have creativity, he wouldn't have been able to reach Xinjiang from Beijing. That's right, big brother. That's what I mean. We need people with creativity like him. When Guang said this, his eyes lit up. Yuanyang nodded, indicating that he understood very well. That's right. We need people with creativity like him. But before that, we have to confirm one thing. Whether he really escaped from Beijing, or was deliberately released by the police. As long as we have this confirmation, I will have an answer. So we are really giving the police 10 days. Yuanxing was stunned. Then, the matters at the freaking port would be suspended for 10 days. That would be a huge loss. That's right. Yuanyang nodded. I have already made my decision. The two of you just have to follow my instructions. During this time, keep in touch with the people inside the police. Any movement is crucial to us. That you're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.